Hello, my fellow hermits, and welcome to another reading. Today we're going to be doing a soulmate reading. I felt called to do one for quite some time now, but presented before you are cards that are going to be representative of you and your soul. So we have the lamb, we have the elk in reverse, and then we have the vulture here, and then I have some crystals available for you to use to hopefully guide you to the right pile. If you found that none of these piles resonate for you during the energy check in terms of who you are and what your history with love is, please feel free to choose another pile or view another reader, of course. But if that pile is for you, we're going to go through who your person is, what their history with love is as some signs, what you're going to be going through when you both are meeting, the circumstances of your meeting, how you're meeting, and then how the relationship will progress. And then we will get into what they would like to say to you, as well as some advice on how to get closer to your soulmate. So for some of you, this might just serve as confirmation that you've met your person, but for others, it might be how you will recognize them. And I think for the closer part in terms of the advice, that will be more so how you can either get closer to meeting them, like what further work you would need to do with yourself, or it could just be how you can get closer to your person if you know them. So go ahead and choose the pile that resonates most with you, and I will see you there. Hello, pile one. I hope you don't mind, but I shuffled your cards off camera today, and they are all presented here right now. You chose the lamb. Your current energy is represented by rest and rejuvenation. And then on this side here, we have your history with love. On this side here, we have your struggles with love. So if you didn't watch the introduction, what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be going through a confirmation on whether or not this is your pile. If anything that I am saying here doesn't resonate, then this might not be your pile. I would go look for a different reading or look at another pile. That's totally understandable. If you don't find yourself here, there might not be messages here for you. If you resonate with this partially, then maybe there are messages here for you, and some I would pick and choose what you feel like is really representative of your person. But if you fully resonate, then we will continue on to the rest of the reading and look into how you're going to be meeting your soulmate, who they are, what your journey is going to look like together, and then get some advice on your future. The lamb person is represented by earth energy. So Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. You tend to, I'm hearing, be heavily pursued, or you pursue other people very heavily. It's either one or the other. But I get this energy of all or nothing with this group where you feel very intensely, but you might not necessarily project that outward into the world. You seem like a very quiet and patient and peaceful person at heart. And you might be the type of person that asks the universe for answers, and then the universe answers in very strange ways through people that you don't really expect. You tend to have this internal wisdom that you carry with you through the form of your herd sometimes. With the lambs, like obviously they move in herds and that's how they are able to defend themselves. So I think you might be someone that is a bit more introverted, but you do have a large group of people that support you and protect you and stick around you. Right now, your current energy with love is represented by rest and rejuvenation. 19 is a significant number, and so is the number 10 or 1. I don't see any other, 6 is here as well, but I don't see any other significant numbers here. So you might not necessarily be a numbers person. But rest and rejuvenation talks about taking a break, and it talks about taking a moment to slow down and to rest. And that's not only represented by this card. A lot of the other cards here have been encouraging you to rest for a while. So either your life is slowing down right now and there's now time for you to focus on your love life, or maybe you just kind of need a break from your love life love life right now and are not really looking for anything serious or to commit to. You're spending a lot of time doing internal work at the moment and really figuring out, I think, what it is that you want in your life. But I think right now you're in this period of waiting, and I don't think you're pursuing people anymore. I think you're waiting for them to come to you. So either that's been like a flipped energy of you used to pursue other people and now you're allowing people to come to you, or it could just be the way that you've been for a while. Because I feel like for some of you, you might be aggressive pursuers of love because you want it to work, but for others, that might not be the case. Your history with love is interesting to me because either you are a very strong and hopeless romantic and you have this really grandiose idea of love that shifts you in the wrong direction and puts you in relationships with the wrong people, or you are the type of person that does not really like to commit that much and likes very short flings or short relationships, or tends to get into relationships that are very short lived. You see a lot of potential with people and with love in general. You see love as something that is very special to you. And I think you want to wait for the right person and you're willing to explore your options to get there. But there's a lot of excitement because I think you really just enjoy dating in general. And you like the passionate, short-lived initial moments of dating where it's exciting and it's fun with people and there's just a lot of passion that you really enjoy. But I don't think that it moves into a state of commitment with these people. It could be that you are getting your needs met in these relationships of having a very passionate relationship, or again, you just tend to get into, if you've been in relationships with people that are very short-lived. But you really love the whirlwind sense of having a crush and being in those initial phases and feeling that passion and really taking advantage of the moment. But there's not really anything about commitment here of really being with someone. So I don't know if you're afraid of commitment or if the people that you've seen or the person that you've seen is afraid of commitment, but that's kind of something that's been happening a lot there. And I think with your vision of love and this love for passion in general has led you in the wrong direction with people. You have given your time and attention and have moved in a direction that doesn't necessarily serve you with compass in reverse. And a lot of times I feel like you have tried to not necessarily force, although some of you might say that, but you've tried to, I feel like, beg people to commit, or you've really wanted someone to like be the person that you've been interested in. Almost like wanting people to change to suit your needs with a mountain in reverse. And it's been a heavy obstacle for you to carry because those people aren't, I'm hearing who they say they are, or they aren't who you expect them to be. So there's a lot of disappointment with mountain because you really want something to work and it just doesn't because the obstacle is too large to overcome. I think that's where the earth energy comes in for you, is being a bit stubborn and wanting things to go your way because you see the potential, because you see that this could be something more significant, and it just never happens because the people that you're with aren't who you're supposed to be. Like you're kind of being guided in the wrong direction. And compass too, I don't know what sign that's pointing to. Taurus. You might be attracted to Tauruses and they're not for you. I feel like that's just confirmation for some of you. Or you're trying to approach love in a very Taurus way and it's not necessarily working the way that it needs to work. Because Taurus in Venus, I think, is someone that's very, you really like comfort in relationship. You love physical touch and luxurious experiences, and you're very sensual. You like the finer things in life. You love moving at a very slow and relaxed pace in relationships. And I think you tend to get with or be in situations that are the opposite of that, where, or maybe you want the opposite of that. There's something about opposing things here. I feel like for some of you, this is what you want. Like, you want a very sensual and slow relationship that's more relaxed, and that is based on physical touch and comfort and luxurious experiences. But you get into these very fiery and quick-paced relationships that just fizzle out. Or it could be that you are trying to move towards Taurus, and you say that you want a slow and relaxed pace relationship with those qualities, but really your soul is attracted to these very fiery and passionate ones. There's something about a conflict here between earth and fire, and I think that that scorches you sometimes because you're moving in the wrong direction, is what Spirit is telling you with your love life. No offense, I'm not here to be judgmental. I'm just trying to deliver that message here to you. And your struggles with relationships, you are not really the type of person that feels suited for love, if I'm being honest with you. With the King of Swords, you are more dedicated to your career, you're very independent, and you struggle with intimacy because it's just not your forte. It's just not your strong suit. I think you more likely prefer your career, or you more likely prefer other relationships, because intimacy is very scary to you. And that's why I think some of you might be the person that is the short-lived situationship where you don't want to commit, and others just tend to get into these non-committal relationships because you kind of want things to stay surface level, and you don't want to think about how deep the relationship could get for some of you. But the King of Swords is very mature, don't get me wrong. They love their independence. They love being focused on their work and their goals, and they don't like to compromise with other people. And I think you'll have a hard time connecting with others because of that, because we live in a society where love and relationships are built on that level of intimacy and are built on that level of emotional connection. And a lot of conversations that I've at least seen online are about codependence and not really liking that, or people being very codependent. But I get the sense that, like, you might have been in a lot of relationships where you've realized that you don't want to compromise on your career to be with these people, and that's why things might be very short-lived, or why you gravitate towards short-lived relationships, because you just haven't had the time for them. And you don't really like opening up, I don't think, which is not a bad thing, but we'll get into the advice later. That's just kind of your struggles, is not really knowing how to open up, not really knowing how to connect to people, and not finding people who respect you for your independence. And with the Ace of Cups, I think you've gotten a lot of opportunities in love, have fallen in love before you. Well, let me ask, like, what this Ace of Cups is doing here, because that's interesting. I think maybe you've had breakthroughs about this before with your emotions, and you have opened your heart, and you have allowed new love to enter into your life. You might be trying to take steps towards being more intimate. I wonder why that's a struggle. I think that might just be highlighting that it's a struggle for you to just, you like the fiery side of things. You love the passion. You love, the physical connection with someone, for some of you. But it's hard for you to just connect emotionally with people and to feel, I think you might have maybe avoidant attachment, which I have had that before as well, so no judgment on my end. But you're very scared of that head over heels feeling. You're scared to open up, and you're scared of new love and being affectionate in that way. And I think that when you go through these feelings for the first time with people, and you experience that emotional connection with someone, it causes you to kind of freeze up, and it causes you to need a break from the relationship to really process what you're going through. And for some people, they don't understand that and they don't really know how to handle that. So they might just not move forward as a result of that with you. Or you might not move forward with them because you're like, I need time to really rest and rejuvenate and really take care of myself because I know that I can't give my best here. There's a lion here, which I didn't recognize. He's kind of camouflaged. So Leo energy is significant here as well. But I think that that's your struggle, is just opening up. And because of that, you have a lot of history with very short-lived, passionate connections that don't really lead anywhere or move in the direction that you would like your love life to go. So if that doesn't resonate with you, this is not your pile. But if it has, we will get into your... We're going to put you off to the side here. All right. Spirit, who is one's person? Can we get a card for them? This person is very slow moving as well. The rabbit in reverse. Yeah, they are also Earth. I got that feeling. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. That's significant. Okay. And then what is their history with love? What is their history with love, Spirit? The World in reverse. And then can I get a card for their struggles with love, please? Five of Wands, Six of Wands, and the Five, and the Seven of Wands. They have a lot of Wands cards as well. We're going to move over here. Okay. We're going to clarify with some Enchanted map cards. Can we clarify why the world is in reverse here, please? Dry desert. Seven of Wands. Can we clarify that? You really wanted to give me a ton there. Talisman. Listening in reverse. Six of Wands. Clarify that. Thank you. Movement in reverse. And then the Five of Wands. Okay. Bear with me, please. I'm not used to these cards. Here, making a choice and coming to life. We're going to just move these up here so we can see. There we go. Okay. So this person, yeah, they tend to over-explain a lot about the future, and they tend to be very afraid of what that looks like. I think they have a lot of anxiety when it comes to life in general. I think they're more of a nervous person. You might notice this when you first meet them, that they talk very quickly and they don't really get to the point, I think. I think they're the type of person that like takes forever to just tell you what it is that they need to say. But they have the world in reverse when it comes to relationships. I think they have a very difficult time trusting that relationships are going to work out due to this anxiety, and they have trouble with change, moving from one stage of their life to the next. So I'm hearing dragging their feet. I think they drag their feet through previous relationships, and they might stay in connections that they don't necessarily need to stay in. And they might have partners that have tried to pressure them to move more quickly or to basically move to the next stage with them. And I don't think they're really ready for that. So they tend to just kind of sit there in one place. At least this is their history. This doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they're that way and that they've stayed that way. 30 is very significant to them. They have a lot of like sequential things. So I think 29, 30, 31, those ages are significant. Oh, they even have 28 too. What is this, 49? So their early 30s, late 20s have been very significant for them, or will be very significant for them, depending on when you meet. They just have a lot of, they don't really have a lot of energy. I just felt like a slump when I was reading for them and their energy in general. So they don't really have, that's why they move slowly and why they tend to stay, because they want to conserve their energy. And I think they know deep down that moving forward in some of their relationships is not going to yield anything significant for them. That's why they kind of plant their feet and why they stay stuck, because they know deep down this isn't where they want to be or who they want to be with. They tend to put in very consistent effort into their relationships. I think that that's another thing as well. Like they like to move slowly as well. They don't like to take things very quickly. And for some people that might be annoying to them because they might be on a timeline that the rabbit is not. And they might tell the rabbit, oh, you're just saying things out of fear. Like you just don't want to move forward because you're scared of commitment. And the rabbit's like, no, I've been putting in effort into this relationship. It's just, I don't feel ready to move forward in that way. Like I want to conserve my energy and know when it's the right time. And I want to put as much effort as I can into things. They like to build. And that's a very earth-like energy there of taking your time to make something substantial. It's interesting too because the dry desert, the rabbit does very well in the dry desert. They like moving in this endless journey through a dry and hot place. That might be where they are now. I'm like, especially with these fields here, I'm thinking of Arizona, but that's just because it's my soul place. But they've adapted to live in this environment, basically, of digging deep for inspiration, digging deep for truth, being resilient and adaptable in these conditions and moving very slowly. And I think that's why they might be in relationships that are very long term, but don't necessarily lead to anything, because they are capable of being consistent and being mature and adapting to situations and things, even if it doesn't necessarily serve them. They like to go deep within themselves, go deep within the connection. So I think part of the reason why they like to take their time is because they want to get to the root of everything. And that might be why they struggle to move from phase to phase, because they might figure out something and be like, oh, I spent so much time learning this. Like, I'm really excited that I learned this. And then now I have to kind of take that knowledge and move forward and dig deeper again in another location. But they tend to know, I feel like, when something's going to work and when something's not. And I can't tell if they don't like surface level relationships or if that's also kind of been the case for them. But I guess we'll get into their struggles a bit more to get more of an idea on that. I think they've been in very boring relationships, but because it's safe for them. And it helps with their anxiety because they don't want to be in very intense connections with someone since it's not their forte as well. Yes. So their struggles is that they refuse to give up on relationships. Even if they know that it's not something that they should be fighting for, they continue to fight for it. And they might be in relationships sometimes with people that they're not necessarily attracted to, which has the dry connotation to it. Not to be crude, but that's kind of what I was thinking when I pulled those cards. And they just try really hard. They try to prove that they're worthy of love and affection, and they don't want to give up in terms of proving their worth, even though these people aren't necessarily like good for them, and they kind of know that. They don't feel heard, or they haven't felt heard in relationships. They're trying to prove a lot, but they're not necessarily, I think, listening to the universe, or they're with people that don't necessarily listen to their needs. And they don't really speak up about it, is what I'm seeing here. That's why they've struggled a lot, is they try really hard. They put a lot of effort into these relationships with people, but it's not working. And the example that I'm thinking about is, I guess we'll use the desert analogy here. When you're with someone and it's hot, and obviously you don't wear like big coats in the desert unless it's winter, but there's not a need for like giant puffer jackets is what I'm thinking about. And you're hot, it's the middle of the summer, and you're with a partner who just keeps knitting you these like big wool jackets that trap a lot of heat within them. And the rabbit's like, that's really nice of them to, make these jackets for me. I'm going to wear them even though I'm really sweating in relationships. Like, I'm just going to keep the jacket on. When really they need to be with people that knit them, tank tops and I'm hearing booty shorts. But I just think that they're in states of denial in their relationships, and they just hold it down when they don't necessarily have to. And they just don't speak up, or they're just not listened to in their relationships. And you have Talisman in reverse. I'm curious to see what this is about. Oh yeah, they repeat this cycle basically. They keep going into or being in these connections with people that don't work out because they're not listening is the whole thing that I'm getting. And here's something about choice, which is interesting because here's making a choice here. This talks about limitation and how each individual path has some limitations, is what it says. Some avenues are not available, and I think that really frustrates them because they want to have that avenue available. And I feel like they sometimes have this thought of, well, if this isn't available to me, or if this person doesn't love me, or if this isn't available, I'm just not worthy of it overall. And I'm immediately attracted to this here of the person holding their hand over the flame and not letting it die down. Like, they're very stubborn in the same way, even though another path might be better for me. Another path might have those booty shorts and tank top. And they need to accept that avenue is just not available to them. I feel like they just need to move on from relationships and realize some things just aren't worth fighting for. And just because one person doesn't love you, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love overall. But they keep taking this path over and over and over again, maybe with different people or with the same person, and it's just not working. Like, they're just fighting a lost battle, is what I get with the Seven of Wands here. I think they might be a little bit overconfident in relationships with the Six of Wands here, or they might view relationships as like winning something, like oh, I won this person, so that means that I have to stay with them. I won this person, so if something doesn't work out with them, that means that I have to continue to be devoted to them, is what I get here. And they definitely feel like they're walking in circles with this battle. I think that they feel on top of the world with a new love. They get really excited about someone. They tell them how much they appreciate them. I don't think that they make false promises. I think that they make good promises and they keep their word and they make the other person feel very happy and fulfilled. But for them, they feel like they're walking in circles and not really getting anywhere. And it might be 2 steps forward with someone, 5 steps back type of deal. They don't like going into unknown territory. And I think that's why they've kind of stuck around in these relationships that don't fulfill them, because they don't want to be the one to have to break things off with the other person. They want to continue to fight for it, even if it doesn't necessarily seem right. And I'm kind of just a broken record at this point, but they have a lot of competition when it comes to love, I think. And that might be why they try so hard to prove themselves. I feel like they just want highly desirable people, especially with the 6 of Wands. Like they might want someone that, I'm hearing trophy wife for some reason. They don't have to be like attracted to women or attracted to men. And I think that they tend to struggle with wanting attention. Like they really want their person to be paying attention to them and it just doesn't work. So they just feel like they're constantly having to beg people to love them, I think. That was a lot, and I repeated myself. But that is a good idea of your person and what background they're coming from. It's just someone who just doesn't quit and doesn't learn what they need to learn. But I think that makes them a good lover in a way, because you definitely know that they're not going to be walking out on you, or you know that they're not going to be walking out on you, and you know that they're going to stick around to the end of time, and that they're going to be committed and they're going to want to work things out rather than running away from things. And I think that might be really good for you too, because I get the feeling that you're kind of the opposite of, you face a problem with something or someone. I'm hearing the Bolt to Ride Taylor Swift, and you might want to run from it. And I think you need someone with a stable energy that's not really willing to quit on you. So let's see here. What's going to be happening in your life when you meet this person? Well, I guess we'll look at the circumstances of your meeting. All right. How are you two going to be? That was such a horrible shuffle. How are you two going to be meeting here? Okay. So you might know who this person is for some of you, because the 8 of Cups in reverse talks about returning to something that you thought was done and over. But it could be, I wonder what you're returning to. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. I'm going to actually clarify the 8 of Cups in reverse. What are they returning to exactly? I kind of feel called to do. I'm going to shuffle on camera actually and go quiet for a little bit here. I'm going to fast forward. Welcome back, Pile 1. So the meeting of you guys is interesting and it might be a bit controversial. And I don't want to put too much bad juju or energy on you. But if you have someone in mind for the rabbit, I would take that as confirmation. The circumstances of you guys meeting is represented by the Eight of Cups in reverse here. So you have said goodbye to something permanently, and you are returning to it to complete a cycle. This is going to be a full circle moment. And you've said goodbye to this thing specifically, or this thing has said goodbye to you because you needed to go off somewhere and address areas in your life where there were discord. I think one or both of you had this idea that you needed to get your way somehow in terms of life in general. And so you needed to kind of go away and give attention to that specific thing. And now that you have rebalanced your life and taken the necessary steps towards that, I think you might be returning to make things right or make things fair. For some of you, I think this is an X. For others, it could just be maybe you're returning to your hometown. Maybe you're returning to a specific place that's important to you. But you're going to be doing that and returning there because you need to complete something. It might be you just feel compelled to it, drawn to it, or you just kind of feel like you need to make things right and make things fair. And this is the only way is to return to this. But someone, I think the rabbit might be reaching out to you, the lamb, first. And I'm going to get into their side because I'm drawn to their side. The rabbit, I hope to God this isn't true. Maybe you guys have a mutual friend of some sort, and that's how you're going to be meeting, and that person is getting engaged. There's like different ways that I can interpret this. Or it's that the rabbit is the one that is getting engaged. It's kind of hard to tell because things can get dicey real quick. So I'll take what resonates for you. If this doesn't sound like you, or if this doesn't sound like the person that you want to be with, I get that. The rabbit is waiting for something here. And they finally gotten the ball rolling on something that's important to them. They've made the right connections. They've taken a first step towards something that they're very passionate about. And they're waiting for results. And I think the results might be coming in as soon as you do. So maybe you are the results that they're looking for. Maybe they're trying to manifest you with the Four of Wands. But they're going to be something they're celebrating, basically. And I think you guys have like the same hometown or something like that. But they're coming home and they're building a secure foundation with something or someone. And I think you might meet them at like maybe a party for them, maybe another friend's engagement that you guys have, maybe a family member's engagement. But they are going to be like very happy when you see them. Like they're going to be having a really good time in their life right now. I don't think this person's getting engaged, to be completely real with you. I mean, they could be and then breaking it off, but I get the sense that either they see you and they're like, I really want to get engaged to this person. Like this person is my partner for life. Or they might be celebrating another friend's engagement when you guys meet. But they immediately want to commit to you when they see you. Like that's definitely the vibe that they're getting here. They are going to be the one to reach out to you. They're going to be the one to express their love and attraction towards you. And I think they're going to be very interested in you, like just immediately. But there is a level of insecurity with them because their initial thoughts when meeting you is I hide behind material things. You, I guess we'll jump over to you. The state that you're in your life is that you're not having the best time when you meet them. I think you're just going through a really hard time in your life. And you're very stressed out. You're not sleeping very well. You have a lot of guilt and you feel very lost and grief-stricken. Maybe you're returning to your hometown for different reasons because some of you, I feel like it might be a funeral. I hate to put that on you, but I feel like there's some sort of severed connection in one way or another. Maybe you just got out of a relationship and it was just a nightmare. Maybe, you just lost someone that you really love and care about and you're returning. It's kind of hard to say, but you're not having the best time when you meet this rabbit person. And I think that might be why you're driven home. I just get the feeling that that's why some of you might be returning to something or some place, because there's been some sort of loss in your life. And your thoughts on meeting them is, you don't know how hard it was to let you go. I feel you even though we are apart, and I'm starting to understand our connection. Also, my life is not as together as it seems. That's another thing that's standing out to me. But I think if you're an ex of this person and you know who this person is, that might just be thoughts of, I'm coming back to you and I've reprioritized things. I've kind of realized that nothing is as it seemed and that I needed to get this journey out of the way. And now I know for sure, like, this is our connection and I need to come back to you. But you're freeing yourself from something. And I think that's where the grief is coming from. Something, it's time to take back control of your life, is what this card says. So I think you might be getting out of a relationship with someone else, or you might be freeing yourself. I'm hearing a contract too. Like maybe you just had to stay in like a job or some sort that you hated. You're just taking back control of your life during this time. And I'm seeing past life relationship too. Like this person, you definitely are going to be able to recognize. And on a soul level, I think when you guys meet, like they're going to experience a lot of attraction. They're going to want something with you immediately. And you're going to be like, this love feels very familiar. Like this person feels very familiar to me. If you haven't met them before, if you know who this is, that's probably further confirmation if you believe that you've met them in a past life. But you're shutting the door to money. You're realizing that money is not as valuable as you thought that it was. I think you might be in a period where you're not necessarily making a lot of money, or you're losing money for some of you. That might be why the nightmare is happening, and you have to move back somewhere because you needed to free yourself of this financial burden and strain. You have storm warning in reverse too. There's a lot happening for you, like just a lot of negative energy, just to warn you. You might feel like this person is very intimidating when you first meet them and like you're not ready for them, is what I'm hearing too. Yeah, the dark times are starting to fall away and you're going to be moving towards better times. And I think freeing yourself from the burdens that you've been facing up until this point in time. But you're thinking about where you want to go with your life next and thinking about the lessons in love in general. So maybe it is that like you just broke out of something, or you officially walked away from something that was hard for you to let go of. And meeting this person was like the catalyst for that. I feel like for some of you, you might have gotten out of a relationship of some sort and you just had to move away to get away from their energy and to officially like walk away. You have the world here too, which I think talks about travel and moving. So I think some of you are going to meet this person when you're traveling back to somewhere. It doesn't have to be your hometown. Maybe it's like an abroad location. You might be networking. You might be on a work trip when you meet this person for some of you. And you're going to know that like, oh, free yourself might have a different connotation here. Like the world is your oyster. You're going to realize you're not stuck in one specific location. And I think you're going to be in a period of your life where grief has motivated you to explore and to expand and to look elsewhere. And it's hard, I think, for you to let things go. It's hard for you to move into this next stage because I think you're definitely going to have someone else on your mind. I don't know if it's this person or if it's like an ex, but I think that's why this person might be a bit insecure when meeting you, because they think that your life is all together and that everything's like going really well for you. And they might feel insecure because they're like, I'm hiding behind my material worth. Whereas one, the lamb, they're not hiding behind their material worth. They've learned the lesson of letting money go. And that might be a bit intimidating for them. But they feel very calm around you with this rest and rejuvenation card. in terms of this meeting. They're going to be in a period where their life is slowing down and where things are really settling, is what I'm hearing, especially with the Four of Wands. And they're going to feel really good when they meet you, I think. I hate to have that energy for you, Pow One, but it seems like your life is going to be a little bit chaotic when you meet them, which isn't a bad thing. But I think you definitely are going to understand both of your guys' connection a lot better through meeting them. And it's almost going to feel like a full circle moment in love. It could be maybe you were going through so much heartache with your love life before, and then you meet this person and you're like, I understand why things didn't work out with another person, or I understand why things didn't work out in general because the rabbit was my person all along. And I didn't know that until I met them. But I think you're definitely going to be in love with the rabbit person, and you're definitely going to recognize their souls, and you're going to feel them when you're away from them. Maybe you have to leave them too. Like you have to go back somewhere and you're still thinking about them. And it's hard for you to just like let them off your mind. And you realize you have to kind of go back to them at the end of the day. How are you two going to... What is this relationship going to bring for the lamb? What is this relationship going to bring for the lamb? Nine of Swords? Jesus Christ. I think you might be a little bit stressed out by this relationship. Can I get something good that's going to be happening for the lamb? Judgment. Rabbit. What's going to be happening? What's the rabbit going to get out of this relationship? The Chariot. All right. Can you give me their shared journey together, please? The Storm. Okay. So let's see what the Storm is. Like what your guys' journey is going to look like. Here we go. Oh, I see why you're having nightmares about this connection. Everything that you know about love is going to get taken away. Like this person is going to change your life, basically. And it's going to be very crazy because things are going to be stripped away from you by meeting this person. And no matter how far you've come on your path or your age or your wealth or your wisdom, you can't hide from this connection. Like it's so strong that you're going to feel it wherever you go. And you might have a lot of, I think it's not just for you, it's going to be for the rabbit as well. Like everything the rabbit knew about love or understood about love is going to be stripped away from them too. This is shared. So I just want to make that known here. Like you both are going to, I feel like this, you had storm warning too, which is very interesting. I think you kind of have this feeling of impending doom with them, or you kind of know that you guys are just fated to be together. But it might not make sense for you guys to be together a lot of times, and there might be periods of strife between the two of you where you might be like, well, I actually have to focus on this thing, or you might deny the connection, and vice versa. They might do the same thing where they deny the connection, they deny the chemistry because they're like, it's not going to work. But the thing about the tower, because this card is similar to that, is that you can rebuild and you can build on a sturdier foundation to withstand the storm. So I think you both are going to have a hard time thinking straight when you're together. That might be a That might be because the relationship is a little bit sexual, not gonna lie. Because when I think about storms, you can do the math. Um, and it might be hard because, like, you might have periods of waiting. Like, you might have long distance with this person for a while, and it might be hard to kind of forget about them even though you want to. But you guys are definitely going to be going within each other. And you guys are going to challenge each other, is what I'm saying. Like, you guys are going to not tear each other apart, but you're going to be very knowledgeable of the other person's weak points. And you're going to call each other out for that and be like, you could work on this thing and you could be better in this way. And it might be hurtful to go through that or to hear that level of criticism, but then you'll reflect on it, you'll take some time, and you'll be like, that person was right. Like, they weren't trying to tear me down, but they were trying to, what's a healthy way to put this? They were trying to redirect me where I needed to be. I think this relationship is very sensible and very reliable. And when everything else is failing around you, I think that you both will be capable of settling into each other and being with each other through the chaos and the whirlwind and the disorder. Because you both give me, like, not controlling energy, but I think you both have the same anxieties when it comes to the future and not being able to control it. So when things fall apart, I think you guys know that you're going to be able to rely upon the other. If something bad happens, you're going to be able to undo it together. You're going to be able to problem solve. And even when everything else around you is not as solid and it's being ripped away, I think you both are going to be capable of being not necessarily calm, but calm each other down, maybe. There's going to be a lot of truth in this relationship, though, and you're going to surrender to this connection eventually. I think it's going to be uncomfortable to begin with, especially for you, lamb person. And there's going to be a lot of rebalancing both of your lives, like figuring out how to make this connection work on top of everything else, because I feel like both of you are very independent and both of you want your life to go well and want to, again, have a level of control. For you, Lamb, this connection is going to kind of feel like a bit of a nightmare, I'm going to say. And I hate to say it like that, but it's how it's coming out from the cards. With the Nine of Swords, I think, again, you're going to be having a lot of anxiety and exhaustion. But you're not going to tap out of this relationship and you're not going to walk away from it. You might be a little bit on edge with this connection and you might have your guards still up and you might be protecting your heart. I don't know. This relationship might have times where it might be a little bit exhausting for you to deal with because of your attachment. And the rabbit person might not be as understanding of that, or they might kind of struggle to understand where you're coming from with things. But I don't think you're going to want to walk away from this connection. You guys are going to be rebuilding each other even better. And you're going to keep doing that over and over and over again. You're going to need to change in a way that might shake you to your core. And I think you're going to know from this connection what it is that you need to do. And you're going to be moving towards your calling a bit more. And you're going to become braver and you're going to become more of an initiator through the course of this relationship. Like, it's going to teach you a lot of information that you definitely need to learn from this connection here. The rabbit, on the other hand, is going to become more focused through this connection. And in spite of all the obstacles that are happening, I see them on the horse, because Chariot is mostly the horse, and they're just running through a hurricane. And the rain is like pelting down on them. You know, there's debris flying everywhere. Everything's telling them that they can't keep doing this and they can't, keep moving forward, but they are. They're not going to be deterred by a lot of the obstacles that happen between the two of you. You guys are working towards the same goals, I think, and they are going to continue to show their desire towards you and their intentions towards you. They're not going to become distracted by other factors, like other people. They're not going to be distracted by the unknowns. They're going to be like locked into this relationship and find a lot of success within it. And I think that might be a bit scary for you as someone who has commitment issues or tends to struggle with commitment in general and wanting that. But I think you're going to find some endearment in that of this person's never going to give up on me. They're going to keep showing up for me. They're going to keep being there for me, even when maybe I feel like a disaster or when I feel like this relationship is a disaster, which is very beautiful. There's a lot of healing, I think, within this connection. And a lot of change for the rabbit, too, because if you recall, they're a very scared person and they're very fearful of the future. But I think this connection is going to also help them be braver and help them not be so worried about the future, because I think there's a level of you rubbing up on them, sure, if you're into that, but like rubbing off on them too, where they might take your bravery and your badassery and learn from that and become a better person as well through what you have to say to them. So that is your journey with your soulmate. I'm going to get into some advice for you, one, and then I shall let you go. Oh, Cancer season might be significant because I was thinking about all the cards. What's some advice that you have for Pile 1 and their soulmate connection? Intuition. You always know the answer you seek. So I think that's to listen to your heart. And listen to what your intuition is telling you. If it's saying this is not my person, yeah, that's definitely important too, because you're gonna know like they're your past life connection. Like you're just gonna see them and be like, yeah, this is my soulmate. What about it? No, I'm kidding. But you're gonna know who's right for you and who's not. And I think it's listening to your gut that's important here. And then can we get some messages or a message from this deck here? Yeah, that came out in the intro, so I know this is for you. Rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take a break. You are at your best when all aspects of your life are balanced. Yep, I think that balance is very important, and this goes very pretty with that too. I think rebalancing your life is very important. So if you made a decision to rebalance your life over love, I think that that's a good decision on your part. And loving yourself and the people in your life is definitely important here, and knowing when to walk away from connections that you know aren't going to serve you. And I think you are at your best when you are well rested and able to fully appreciate life when you are well rested. This talks about stress, so there's a need to be aware of what stress feels like and to kind of practice some relaxation techniques to keep things from escalating. Calm down, relax, recognize and address your needs. Not waiting until you are completely depleted is definitely important here. So knowing when to just take breaks is going to be important for you. And I think it's going to be important for a connection like this, because things can get really stressful and really heated really quickly if you're not able to kind of balance your life. And I think for some of you, you might feel half finished when you meet this person, is what I'm hearing. I've gotten that message before for myself, but you might not feel like you're ready for this connection when it happens, and that's where the nightmare might come in. But I think if you rest and relax before you make any hasty decisions and really think things over, it's going to be really favorable for you, especially coming into this connection with really good relaxation habits. That's all that I have for you today, Pile 1. If you like this reading, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment with a bunny emoji if you would like. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading for today. You chose the Elk in reverse and this stone here. I'm not familiar with what this specifically is. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you know, as well as its properties. But I wanted to do a quick trigger warning to those who selected this pile that, first of all, I'm sorry if you're going through a lot of pain right now. If you aren't, this probably isn't your pile, but I wanted to give a quick trigger warning because it seems like you might not be feeling like yourself right now. You might be feeling a bit destructive to those around you, and I'm going to be giving you some pretty hard truths in the beginning of this reading, and that's going to help you know whether or not this is your pile. This pile seems to pertain to Earth very heavily. I'm seeing specifically Taurus with the Empress in reverse, but you don't have to be a Taurus. You could also be a Capricorn or a Virgo, or you could just have a lot of Earth placements within your chart. And then you also have fire on this side here, a little bit of water, but fire seems to be pretty significant with the Queen of Wands in reverse here and Temperance here. So Sagittarius seems to be relevant to this pile specifically as well. The Elk in reverse, naturally you are someone that is very strong in their beliefs, and I associate elk with the genre of fantasy, so that might be an interest for some of you, or a confirmation that this is your pile. I see them as very ethereal beings, very powerful and strong beings normally, but right now it seems like you're out of balance, and especially with the sun here too, because fire is pretty relevant to this card, and so it's like red in general. Your horns are being ignited here, and I think you might be feeling metaphorically very hot-headed right now, and something has really like stirred your ego in some way. Like you feel like you have to defend a core value of yours to the point where it might be a little bit destructive towards you or towards other people. And for some people, and this is kind of where the hard truth comes in, I think it might come across as a bit pretentious to them. You might be trying to protect or defend something right now that doesn't really serve you, or maybe you're coming out of that energy and you're transitioning into better energy. But I think that you've been clinging on to something for so long, or there's an ego attached to dating. That's what I heard when I was shuffling right now, where you have ideas around dating that aren't necessarily emotionally fulfilling for you. And these ideas surrounding dating are harmful towards you finding your actual partner, because you have a list of criteria that other people push onto you and other people expect you to have, but this criteria isn't actually what you want. It's just so that people don't look into your relationships and realize, I'm actually really unhappy right now with the person that I'm with, or I'm unhappy with these expectations. I don't know if someone is forcing this upon you. I feel like these are your own personal standards that you've kind of inflicted upon yourself, but it's the same energy as, for example, if you really like, we'll make this black and white, like polarizing terms. I know there can be overlap, and this is going to be very cliche and stereotypical in terms of the example, but I feel like it's the best way to illustrate this. When it comes to your dating life, I feel like some of you are the cheerleader, you're the popular girl, and there is this expectation that the popular girl previously gets with the quarterback. And there's a certain status associated with like who you should date or who you shouldn't date, and you feel pressured to follow those ideals or those values, even though deep down you might be like, hey, I really like that gamer guy, or hey, I really like that nerdy guy that isn't as popular, or I really like that nerdy girl, I really like that gamer girl. I'm not really into like the cheerleader, I'm not really into the quarterback. That's the energy that this is giving with your dating life right now. It seems like you might be dating someone because it looks good for you and it strokes your ego and it matches your values, but I don't think that you're necessarily satisfied by that, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if you're dating right now. I don't know if it's just problems with like how you're currently navigating your dating life or the people that you have gone on dates with, but you're searching for something that isn't necessarily right for you. Your past with dating and your history with dating is you are Earth-like in the way that you navigate dating. You're really interested in commitment. You're really interested in settling down with someone, And you give me like this traveler vibe of you've been to many fields, you've been through many dates, you've been wandering for a while. If you've been single for a while, this could also apply to you of you're wondering, where do I plant my seed? Where do I decide to settle with somebody? And I think a lot of your relationships have been, you are trying to impose what you want onto like the quarterback, which this happens with everyone. I hope I don't come across as like judgmental or anything like that. I'm just speaking in the way that the cards are falling down. I think that these ideas and this, I want to say, ego attached to dating has made you try to control a specific outcome with the person that you're seeing, or control like how that person behaves. So you might be with the quarterback, you might be with the cheerleader, but you're like, I want you to be more of a gamer girl, I want you to be more of a gamer guy, I want you to be more like this person that I fancy and my preference and my type. And that person might feel a bit neglected by that, because they're like, well, I'm not that person, I'm actually this way. Or it could be kind of like the opposite, where you might be a very like giving person to who you're seeing and not really taking care of yourself, because the Empress can talk about that of, I feel like you really want something to work with someone that you know is not going to work out with, and so you pour yourself into them, you give a lot of yourself to them for the sake of feeding into this idea of what love should look like, and that leaves you very burnt out by the end of it, or that leaves you very disappointed by the end of it. I feel like you might be the type of person that has like a specific timeline as to how dating should go or what dating should look like, and you have a very specific, this is the beginning of the relationship, this is the middle of the relationship, this is what the end of the relationship is going to look like. And you don't really allow yourself to just be in that relationship or to just feel in that relationship, because these expectations that you've imposed on yourself keep popping up, and these expectations of what a relationship should look like keeps popping up. And there's nothing wrong with having standards. I want to say that there's nothing wrong with having your values and looking for someone that has them, but the point of dating is not to try to construct or mold someone to be what you need them to be or want them to be. The point of dating is to find them. And I feel like you have a lot of self-neglect right now, where you might be trying to feed an image of yourself that's not actually true to you, and you're going at this like rapid pace trying to show, I am this person, I am this person, I am this person, when it's just not who you really are. And I think that's interfering with your dating life, because you don't know who you are and you don't know what you want as a result of that. So you're in all these relationships that might be really good on the outside, people might be really jealous of like who you're seeing, but it's not actually what you personally want. That's the vibe that I'm getting here. And life is, you know, I'm not here to judge you, by the way. I hope this doesn't come across as judgmental, because life is learning. Like, that's the whole point of dating, is figuring out yourself as well as what you want based on the people that you meet. So you're doing the right thing. I don't want to make it seem like this is a terrible thing and that you should feel ashamed of this. Like, this happens, and I hope that the messages that I deliver to you come as a relief and come as a way of you realizing like, oh, I guess, you know, I was doing this, and I guess this was harmful for me, and I can learn from that. So don't beat yourself up at all. I don't want that to come across as that, because I feel a great sadness for this pile that I haven't felt. I don't want this to be criticizing you if you have a really bad inner critic, because I don't think you would feel the way that you do if you didn't have a massive inner critic. I feel like a lot of your relationships have built upon the other, and the beautiful thing is that you have learned what you want and what you don't want, what you will put up with, what you will commit with, but it's come at this cost to you with the Empress in reverse, where you've lost pieces of yourself, or you've neglected pieces of yourself by being in these relationships. I think that why you've been in this Empress energy is that you haven't allowed yourself to enjoy it. You haven't allowed yourself to really live within the moment of the relationship and to feel things. You're just kind of going from like one point to another, and instead of experiencing it trying to, I guess, foretell what's going to happen. I don't think that's the right word, but trying to like play house is the idea that I'm getting there. You know, with little kids, when they're trying to play house, they're like, you be the mom, and they have these expectations of what the mom does. You be the dad, and they have this expectation of what a dad does. Like, you're not really experiencing things and having good times or living in the moments. You're just kind of playing a role, and it just kind of feels fake or pretentious to you. Your current energy is represented by Archangel Metatron. I feel like you would know that this is your pile because you're like, yeah, that's how I used to be with love. That's how I used to navigate my love life, is I used to be like this, or I'm recently like this, so I have to kind of change. Like, you definitely understand what I'm talking to you about. Like, this is the way for you to confirm your pile. And you're expanding your horizons and expanding your perception of what love could look like for you. And I think that that's really beautiful, that you're starting to take accountability for things, and that you're starting to kind of recognize where you can change your perspective. Maybe you like gym bros, but maybe you need a nerdy gym bro, you know, maybe you need a gamer gym bro. Like, you're really understanding, I think, that love is not as black and white as you once foresaw it, especially with like the horns here, for instance. I think that you know, this whole elk is like black and white in terms of their fur color, but then the sun is starting to enlighten them, and they're starting to kind of understand better of, oh, it's not what I thought that it was. You're kind of transforming in a way through fire, and trials by fire are always painful. You always get burned, but I always think of the phoenix with that, where you're going to rise and you're going to have a newer perspective, and you're going to kind of understand like why things happened previously, what's going on, and how you can move forward with your life. So currently, it's interesting because you have Temperance here. And Temperance is that Sagittarius card, and Sagittarius is all about being adventurous, being optimistic, being free and curious, and going after new experiences and trying to gather new knowledge. The card here specifically in this Thoth deck is that you have two opposing sides trying to mix something and create something new and have things like come together. So I think you might be like meeting new people or trying to branch out from your type or your preference right now, because you've realized, like, previously I might have been stuck in this idea of what love should look like, what it should be for me, and you're trying to combine fire and ice. It's working when it shouldn't, and that's what I don't necessarily understand about this reading. Or maybe this is just for, like, since it's a general reading, you'll be able to put context to this. But on paper, everybody would probably tell you that, no, this isn't going to work. No, you can't ask for this thing. No, you're this way, they're that way. Like, it's not going to happen, but it is. But something isn't quite right. That's the feeling that I'm getting here. Because though you are successful at what you're doing right now, it's not really feeding you in the way that you would like it to feed you. I'm thinking of food for some reason. Although a food combination might work together, like ketchup on mac and cheese, I guess, it's not necessarily the best dish that you could come up with. It's not necessarily the best dish that you can, you know, bring together. And that's kind of the vibes that I'm getting here, is that I think you might be with someone where the relationship works for you, but it's not what you want for yourself. Or you might be in a situation with your dating life where it's like, yeah, this will tide me over and this will satisfy me for now, but you kind of know that it's not for the long term. And if that's what both of you want, if like you're very clear that both of you are just looking for like a fling, or you just kind of want to casually date, that's not a problem. But with the Ace of Cups in reverse, you feel drained, you feel disappointed, you feel like things aren't really requited right now, and your heart has a message for you, like a very truthful message about what course it wants you to take or who it wants you to be with. But I feel like you're ignoring it because you don't have a reason to break things off yet, or because there's nothing going wrong, but it doesn't quite feel right. And you don't know how to necessarily say to the person that you're with, or like your dating life, that it's not quite right. This gives me the impression of someone who's going through the motions of dating, as I said, like with the history here, rather than actually like partaking in it. And kind of like things are moving quickly right now for you. I think you have a lot of people that might be interested in you. You have a lot of people that might be trying to get your attention right now, and that might be why you're so confused, or why like you are having this moment of clarity, because it's hard for you to figure out like what you want for yourself, or who you want for yourself, due to all the offers that you have coming for you. And that might be really nice for certain people. It might feel nice in the moment, but it's still kind of disappointing, because you just want to settle, you just want to be with your person. At the end of the day, you just want to commit. But you're an earth energy undergoing fire energy, and those elements don't really combine very well. Like they can work together with this temperance card, but I think sometimes you're going to get scorched, sometimes you're going to get burned by that fire, and sometimes you're going to be transformed. I don't know if I'm speaking in hieroglyphics, but the card I'm trying to avoid is represented by the Queen of Wands. And I don't know if this is you, I don't know if this is your partner. There's something about attention here. This card sometimes reminds me of like women who have not gone through their phase of disconnecting themselves from a patriarchal standpoint. And what I mean by that is some women care more about receiving attention from men than they do about their sisterly bonds. So they feel the need to like compete, and they feel this strong pressure to like knock other women down, tear down their confidence, talk crap about them behind their backs to men specifically, even though it's like that doesn't get her what she wants necessarily. And it works temporarily, but it doesn't necessarily work for the long term. And I don't know if this is referencing you. I don't know if you're in a situation like that, or if you have a partner that's like that. But I think for some of you, you might be in the situation where it's like, I thought that this was what I wanted because it was going to get me to a certain place. It was going to give me a certain status of some kind. And now that you're actually in the situation, you're disappointed because it's not what you expected, or you're not receiving the attention that you would like. I don't know if this is an unrequited love situation, and maybe you're hiding your feelings from another person because you're scared of what they might say, you're scared it's not going to work, and so you're in this situation that's working but not quite ideal for you. But whatever the case may be, there's some element of taking a step back and kind of analyzing whether or not this is what you want for yourself, and whether or not this is conducive to you. And maybe starting to think of, if this isn't, who do I need to be, or who do I need to become in order to have a healthy relationship with someone else? That was a lot. If this isn't your pile, you'll know by now. Please don't come for me just because I'm trying to deliver the message. But full disclosure, I am a tarot reader that is not going to bullshit you or not call you out or hold you accountable. I try to be as positive as possible, but I am here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to lie to you, because the truth at the end of the day is what's going to kind of help you move forward. So let's get into your person now. We're going to put you off to the side. I'll keep your stone here. Who is your person? Your soulmate. Who is Pal T's soulmate? And they landed upright. Yeah, I think you like him a bit wild, Pile 2. I think you really want the baddies, but you're trying to be with the earthly people that bore you, because you've been told you should want to be with the earthly people rather than the baddies. And that's not saying earth signs can't be a baddie, because I'm an earth sign and I identify as baddie, but like, sorry. So what is their soulmate's What is their soulmate's history with love? God, okay, please. Their soulmate's history with love, please. Okay, they have not had a very quick love life. I think this is someone that has had a lot of long-term relationships. Alright, I'm gonna put these down here. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna go into their current love situation, because that kind of seems like it's going to be redundant, especially if you haven't met them yet. Why do they have this history, Spirit? Oh, that jumped out. Oh, they got the same card as you, but in reverse. I'm hearing wrong place, wrong time. So they might be in a lot of situations, or have been with a lot of people, where it's like not the right person. What is their current energy towards love right now? Oh, that jumped out. They have a lot to say about love right now. Healer of the Ages, Angel of Love. They have numbers that are kind of gravitating towards 50, which is interesting. Is that Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ, it's Jesus Christ. They have very playful energy. I don't know what it was about the tiger, but they definitely are really playful. They are probably a fire sign, but I wouldn't take my word for it. Aries is popping up too, because you had the Empress and now they have the Emperor. So they might be in Aries or have strong Aries placements. But Aries is definitely popping out, as well as Leo in the Tiger and Sagittarius too. I remember this card though, it does talk about coming out at night. So they might be like a clubber or a raver, or someone that has a lot of like night activity going on. I can't find them. Couldn't find yours either. So there's something about like finding yourself. This person is very feminine. They don't have to be a woman, but they might be more feminine in general. They are very sensual and devoted. And as I said, they take advantage of the love that is put in front of them. They really like the night is what I'm seeing here. Like they enjoy the stillness and the quiet of when the city is asleep and when they're out and about. Like maybe they don't necessarily go to clubs and stuff like that. It could be that they like walking at night or just being out. It could be more of a night owl. They're very sensual and passionate though. They give me very charismatic and like just exuding sexy energy. And it's interesting that they're described as a more feminine card, because the Emperor, I think, is very masculine. So they might present themselves very feminine and be very masculine internally, or it could be vice versa, where they present very masculinely to people around them, but deep down they're very feminine. And I'm hearing you might bring out the side that's like truly them. So regardless of whether or not that's the more masculine side or the feminine side, I think you're going to be able to kind of see deep down like who they are. But their history with their love life is they have a very structured like sense of love, and they're very powerful. They take control of the direction of their love life. So they are the person that might enjoy planning the dates more. They might enjoy like spending more of the financial money, you know, more of the things that we associate with masculinity. They are more the initiator. There is an element here of not necessarily expressing their truth. I think that's why this dichotomy appeared. In their previous relationships, they have been the initiator. They have been the one to be more of that masculine identity. Previously, they might have felt like they had to just put up a front with their partners, and that they couldn't be as soft with these people. Like, they constantly had to be this like idea of a man, or an idea of a woman, or an idea of what it means to be like non-binary even. And as a result of that, I feel like they have struggled to really communicate and to have conversations with people about specifically what that person doesn't want to hear. And they've also just kind of shut off their feelings, or like withheld their feelings from those that they're with, because they feel like if they do communicate those feelings, they're going to be criticized for that, or their person isn't going to love them as much, or this person is going to see them differently and not really like them. So in the same way that you've hidden your truth in the beginning, they also kind of hide their truth as well. And they have tried to hide behind like intellectualism or logic instead of being in their emotional truth. There might have been a bit blunt in their previous relationships too, because the tiger is more of a predator than they are the prey. So they might have had little implosions or explosions in their relationships where, you know, when you hold things in for too long, it's gonna overboil and it's gonna simmer, and they might communicate in that way. Like, they might have kind of unleashed in that way and regretted it later. But they have struggled with communication in their previous relationships. They definitely have not struggled with initiating. They definitely haven't struggled with like taking care of the logical masculine side of things. But I think when it comes to their feelings, they've kept that under wraps, and they've kind of hidden that. And a lot of their relationships, they might have stayed a bit too long in them, because, as I said, this is someone that has been in long-term relationships based on the way that I was shuffling the cards. It's because they don't communicate, I feel like, that's been an issue for them. But they've thought that they've left something in the past. They've thought that like they've moved forward from something, and I feel like they just tend to meet the same person or go through the same cycles every single time with their previous relationships. And they've had this temporary relief of not expressing their truth, of not like fully communicating their emotions. But obviously, if they don't communicate and they continue to not learn that lesson, it's just going to continue to happen to them over and over and over again. And they felt stuck in these relationships. They felt stuck in this cycle before, and they've tried to figure out things through logic and through decision making, but that hasn't always worked for them. Like, sometimes it calls for your heart, sometimes it calls for your emotions, and sometimes it calls for empathy rather than trying to see things from a more logical perspective. And they need to let go of something. I think they need to let go of like this idea of who they need to be, or this masculine person that they need to be, because it's not really helping them. And I think that that's really what's preventing them from finding their person and moving forward in their cycle. So they have things that they need to work on as well before I think you two decide to meet. Yeah, they're not being honest with themselves, and they're not looking at the situation for what it truly is. They want like things to be logical. They want things to work out the way that they've been told it should work out, but they can't see it for what it really is. I think a lot of times, like, they might be in relationships too where they're like, I want this person to see me in this way. I want this person to recognize my emotions under the surface. But how is their person able to like fully see that that's how they feel if they don't communicate that, you know? And they might be trying to get that person to be a certain person, or to not look a certain way, but like they might also be trying to look for a specific type of person, find themselves attracted to another person, and then try to get that person to behave in the way that they would like them to, and it just doesn't work, especially with the Emperor here. And they just like stuff that down. They don't address it ever or talk about it with that person. They just kind of do that like weird thing where they say, oh, I want this, or oh, I want that, and expect that person to kind of like catch up or catch on to that. And truthfully, they need to learn like how to trust their intuition and how to recognize that, like, what is something that is truthful and what's something that's not truthful to me. I think that's definitely why they've been having these problems. And how they're feeling about love currently is represented by the Healer of Ages and the Angel of Love. They have something beautiful to share. They're very tender and loving. They have a lot of compassion and affection. And it looks like love is on the horizon for them. They're looking for a more deeper and intimate connection with someone that's already in their lives, and they might be kind of struggling to like express their feelings to that person. I don't know if this is you or if this is just like you guys haven't met yet and this is where they're currently moving towards, but they're having connections happening for them when it comes to their love life. You might be like in contact with them soon, or they might be coming in soon. They're healing a lot with this Healer of Ages, and they are viewing things from a very loving perspective right now, and they have some resolution happening to the things that have happened in their past, like physically, mentally, emotionally, I feel like, especially, and they're unblocking their energy and kind of like, it says, revitalizing their life force. So they are coming back into their power, they are coming back into their presence, and I think they're coming back into their truth. And they're transforming into a more balanced version of themselves, and they are healing the parts of them and forgiving the parts of them that didn't communicate, didn't recognize their femininity, and wasn't willing to be their truthful selves or be in a situation with their truthful selves. So I'm kind of curious. We're gonna get into now more of the meeting period with this person. All right, so what are you going to be going through when you two meet? Power in reverse. Okay, what are they going to be going through when you two meet? Ace of Swords. Yeah, this aligns with what I was talking about earlier. Okay. What is the circumstances of your guys' meeting? How are you guys going to be meeting? Priestess in reverse. I don't know. Oh, that's the Seven of Cups. Yeah. Alright. Can we get some cards for some love cards for the Tiger in terms of like the meeting? Like, what's their retreat? It's time to disconnect from the world. And then what about the Deer person when they're meeting? Meeting the Tiger person. What's happening to the Deer person? I want to make sure my shuffling is good. Spirit. It's safe for you to love. Okay. Can I get some energy cards of what's the energy on the Tiger's end of the meeting? I'm keeping all of these. I'll leave them as a big pile of mess. What about the elk? How are they gonna be? Oh. All right. And then I actually want to pull some hidden truth cards here about what they might be thinking. What are they going to be thinking when you guys first meet? Just being near you is intoxicating. It's hot. Sorry. Dear person. What is the dear person going to be thinking? What are you going to be thinking when you meet them? I wish I could take back my words. What the hell? Alright, sorry. I'm just kikiing and goofing off because I love this part of the reading. Okay. Can I get more, like, where? Do you have an idea of where? Because that's how they're going to be meeting, but where are they going to be meeting? Oh, Knight of Wands. I don't know. For some of you, I saw, what is that place called? With, like, the knights, and they're, like, it's like a medieval restaurant. That's taking it too literally, but I feel like for some of you, you're going to be meeting here. I think you're going to know this person for a little bit before you guys go on a date of some kind. I think you guys are going to be expecting this to be like a situationship of some kind. Like that's how you're going to meet. Or if it's going to be like a friend setting you up or something like that. But I get the feeling that you guys are going to be meeting at like a regular date. And I think when you come into the date, you might be expecting them to be a certain way, but they're not, because you both kind of have your masks up a lot and you both project this image of yourself onto the world that's not necessarily truthful. So I think maybe like you guys are going to match on a dating site for some of you is what I heard. And you're going to be seeing their pictures and being like, there's no way this person matched with me. Like, there's no way they would be interested in me. And you both have like completely different ideas of who the other person is when you guys first meet or when you guys first start talking. And I think both of your first impressions of the other person, which is kind of funny, is that you're very popular. They're very confident. They're very charismatic. They're a little bit cocky. They're entertaining a lot of people. Like, you both think that you have options available to you, and that's not necessarily the truth of it. I think this might start out as a situationship and develop into something more. You expect it to be like this quick love affair, and you debate whether or not it's going to last. You're going to be meeting in a very physical capacity, and there's definitely going to be a lot of passion and attraction when it comes to this relationship. You're going to feel really excited and challenged and wanting to just be away alone with this person to, you know, get a little frisky. You're going to be meeting at like a very exciting event is what I'm seeing here, and an important event for both of you guys. And it's going to be something that you're very passionate about. It's something that you're very energetic and enthusiastic about. And it's something a bit risky. I think you guys might be meeting at a party, and you're gonna just be coming there to have a good time. I don't think you're gonna be expecting to meet them, especially because you have the Priestess in reverse. Like, your intuition is being blocked. you might not be receiving messages about this person per se. It could be that like you feel them coming in, but you're not gonna know straight away that this is the one, like this is your soulmate. It's gonna be something that progresses and that you figure out over time. One or both of you are going to be exploring your options at this point in time. You're both definitely going to be single. You're both going to be in a state of having to choose. I don't know if you both know what you want, or you both have been so busy that it's like you haven't been able to focus on romance. One of you, I think, is being lied to or tricked by another person and just ignoring the reality of the situation, or ignoring the reality of like what relationship that you're in. But I'm definitely getting this image of meeting at a party, instantly being attracted to each other, but not knowing that you're soulmates. Maybe developing a friends with benefits relationship from there, and then being in a position when you first meet about exploring your options, or being in a situation where you know it's not necessarily right for you, but you can't see that at the time. But I don't think it's like you guys are immediately being committed to each other. I think this might be more of a long road of you guys meet, might be physical in the beginning, and then it develops into something more. Sorry if things are like scattered around. I wanted to look fully at the energy cards for you before I looked into what is going on with you. I wanted to do it one at a time. I see very clearly though what your situation is. So when you are coming to this specific event, I can tell you multiple things. You are going to be more discerning about your love life. You are going to be a bit closed off and feeling not necessarily ready for dating. You might be stuck on someone at this point. I think you might have gotten out of a relationship when you first meet your soulmate, and you might be feeling like it's not safe for you to love again. So you might be more willing to entertain this casual relationship with your soulmate first before it develops into something that's more romantic. The thing I wish I could take back my words, you either have someone on your mind where you're like, I shouldn't have said that to them, I should have been more fair to them, something like that, or you're gonna say something to this tiger person and feel really embarrassed. Why? What is this referring to? I wish I could take back my words. Okay. Yeah, you had a lot of fears that were like stopping you. And I'll just put these down. It's just easier to read given the pile. And you didn't move forward because you didn't know what was gonna happen. Like something was holding you back. And this is what you wanted to say. So I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm starting to understand our connection. I lost myself for a little while. You might feel a little regretful of who you used to be, maybe. And you're starting to kind of understand that you are coming from a perspective of fear when it comes to love. And that was stopping you from being yourself or giving yourself fully or moving forward in connections that may or may not have been right for you. But we talked about the Queen of Wands in reverse, about how like this talks about wanting more attention, coming from a more egoic perspective, maybe not being as honest about things, and a little bit trying to get your way and doing things that are not necessarily good for everyone else but good for you type of thing. So you might be regretful of your behavior towards another person at this point in time and really thinking about that. You have the Queen of Discs in reverse too. I think you might have been in a connection with like an earth sign recently, or someone that embodies like more earth energy. Things might have ended between you and that person, and they were someone that you could receive like really good advice from. They were very calm. They have very nurturing energy. Oh, I think you might be getting back in touch with yourself, though. Like, you're getting in touch with that Empress energy with the Queen of Discs here. You are becoming more in tune with your Earth energy, becoming really nurturing, becoming really friendly, being calm about things. You're taking your time trying to find the right person at this point, and you're not rushing and committing yourself now. You want a more stable relationship at this time, so you might be feeling a bit of regret about the previous relationships that you've been in where they haven't necessarily served you, or maybe where you've rushed into a connection with someone and now you kind of wish that you could take back that connection that you had with them, or maybe things that you said to them, whether that's I love you, you regret saying that to them, or whether that's like really harsh words that you've said to this person. You have gain in reverse, which is the 9 of discs. I think this regret could be where you feel a bit, I don't know if you gave a lot of things to this person, like material things. Maybe you bought a lot of things for them, you gave them some money, maybe they gave you money as well, but it wasn't buying your happiness. Like, this might go back to the whole, I feel like I should be with this type of person when it's not satisfying me. You might have been with someone for material reasons, because I think the Queen of Discs can do that when she's in reversed. And you realize that even though this person provides you with all these resources and all these financial gifts, you still feel empty with them. Like, it's not satisfying you to be with them. You might have all this success and achievement with that person, but like, it's not really making you feel good about yourself. Like, you still felt really low in your self-esteem, and maybe you didn't like it when they were providing things for you and when you were relying upon them. Maybe you didn't feel safe with this person. Maybe you couldn't leave this other person because of that financial wealth that they had. And I think that relates to I lost myself for a little while. I don't know, it might not necessarily be a bad connection either, because I think that this is just sad energy of I really love you and I care about you, but you weren't my person. That's just kind of the overall energy that I'm getting from there, of you knew what you were doing deep down wasn't for you, and continue to be in this like long dedicated relationship, lost yourself trying to make it something that it wasn't, and now you're kind of at a place where you understand like why that happened and why you're with that person, and you're starting to kind of learn from that. And it could be that this person was amazing and awesome, and you were just kind of like going through something really traumatic, and it was causing you to behave a certain way towards them that they didn't deserve. That could also be the case here, and you're now regretting the way that you treated that person and starting to understand like more from them and learn from them and feel grateful towards them, but also regretful about everything else. That's kind of the things that I see here, especially with interference. Like, you might have just been very fearful and regretful of being fearful like that. Just wanted to clarify that for more insight. But when you're meeting your person, I think you're going to feel very safe with them, especially with the it is safe for you to love now. You might be more discerning for sure about who you allow into your life and how you allow them into your life. With the thinking woman here, that definitely gives me the sign of that. I think yin and yang as well. You're going to be in a position where you're more financially constrained when you meet your soulmate, and that makes sense if you're coming from a relationship where you were provided for and now you're out of that situation. You might be kind of struggling on, okay, well, I've left this situation, how am I going to take care of myself? I'm going to have to save this way, I'm going to have to save that way, I'm going to have to do this. You are, I forgot what the Healer of Ages said, so let me re-look that up here real quick. I think that you're not coming to this party expecting love, to be honest. I think you might be very like withdrawn. You might very guarded because of what's happened. And with the adjacent possibilities, I think you recognize that you have options available for you, but I don't know if you necessarily want to take that at this point, because adjacent possibilities talks about unconsidered options for you, and I think that that might be the case where you don't realize until you meet your soulmate that there are other options available for you, and that you don't have to like feel down or feel sad about what happened previously, if that makes sense. You're definitely going to be feeling upside down. You're going to be feeling like you're losing energy, and you're going to be not fully healed by the time that you meet this tiger person. You're putting yourself first at this point. You're kind of regrouping and recuperating, and you're quieting your mind and just trying to, I think, heal before you get back out there. And that furthers my assumption that I don't think you're coming to this party expecting to find someone. I think you're going to be a little bit like pulled back and a little bit like guarded and feeling safe with this person, but not necessarily safe maybe for you to love. I think that's what they're going to kind of teach you in the process of getting to know you better. Did I cover all of them? Yes. So that's kind of what's going on your side. I'm going to take this and kind of consolidate it. Okay. Now you have the tiger. What's happening with your soulmate at this point? When they meet you, they are going to be having their oh fuck moment. They're going to be very terrified and intimidated. But they are going to be stepping into their truth. If you recall from me talking about them and their experiences, they are going to be having some clarity of mind. They're going to be seeing things more clearly, and I think they're going to be living within their truth. They might still be rational and logical, and they are not going to be entertaining relationships that don't have some sort of purpose at this time. They're going to be very clear about their intentions, and I think they're going to be working on their communication in terms of laying them out, even if it's not necessarily what that person would like to hear. So they're going to be more honest about their approach to love. And with retreat here, they might be going through a period of disconnecting from the world, or wanting to disconnect and just be with someone outside of the world's eye. So maybe they have like a career where they're in the limelight. Maybe they have like a lot of eyes on them at all time, like they're at the top of the food chain type of deal, but they are wanting to be in their Reputation Taylor Swift era. Sorry to explain it in Taylor Swift terms, but I'm just gonna go there. They are wanting to, I think, have a quiet moment to themselves and be in a more quiet space. So they might also not be expecting to meet you there and might not be looking for love at this party, but they're going to find it. They're going to be very attracted to you when they first meet you. Just being near you is intoxicating. Like, they are really going to want to be around you. They're going to gravitate towards you. I don't know necessarily if they're going to be the one to make the first move, but they are definitely going to be enjoying your presence. Their energy is patience, anxiety, attachment, indecision in reverse, and happy family. I feel like they're gonna have this moment where they see a lifetime with you just by like looking at you when they first see you. And they're going to recognize that, like with this patience card here especially, hey, it's not gonna happen like that immediately. I think you guys are gonna have a conversation about where you are in life, especially with the thinking woman here. And this tiger person is going to either help you have a higher understanding of your purpose in love, or they are going to have a higher understanding of you from that conversation. But they are not going to be very desperate when it comes to their love life. They're going to have a very clear perspective on what that means for them, and they are going to be in a state of relaxing and letting go of the desperation that kind of drives them to make decisions. They're not going to be trying to impose their will on people. They're going to think about other ways to satisfy their needs, and not in like the cheating sense, but in the way of like, hey, maybe I have this unresolved need that I need to personally address. Maybe it's time for me to open up my needs to other people and not just solely expect myself to take care of myself type of deal. But they're going to be very patient and open and creative. And I think they're going to be very peaceful when you meet them. They're going to seem like they have a very quiet mind when you guys first start talking. I think they're going to have a lot of anxiety when they meet you, not in the bad way, but it might just be nerves when they see you, in terms of like, oh my God, this is my person, or oh my God, this is the person that I want to marry. Because with happy family here, I definitely think that they're going to have starting a family with you on their minds, whether this is marrying you or whether this is thinking about having children with you, if that's what you want. They're going to be enjoying themselves for sure. And oh, you might have, I got divorce vibes from you, but this might confirm for some of you that you have kids with the person that you're leaving. Like maybe you got divorced and then you meet this person at a party, because this says they might be meeting someone who has children from a previous marriage, but they are going to be celebrating, and they might be with friends when they see you too. It might be a birthday party or a wedding or an anniversary is what this says, because we did just talk about a party. But I think there's going to be a lot of ideas about family for them that's happening, like whether they're there with family or whether they're thinking about starting a family at this point in time. Anxiety. They might be worried about something when you first meet them, and they just seem like this woman where they're just like, they have something on their mind. To you, when they're describing it, it doesn't seem like it's that significant, or it doesn't seem like it's gonna strike them because the storm is pretty far away, but they feel some foreboding sensation, and that might be why they need to retreat, because my eyes are immediately looking at that retreat card. They might feel like they kind of have to get ahead of the curve, and you're like, no, to me that doesn't seem like it's that way, or that doesn't seem like something to be anxious about yet. You still have this and this that could happen. But they're kind of like stuck in their thoughts, I think, when you meet them. And I definitely think you guys are going to be talking a lot when you guys meet for the first time. Like there's definitely a sexual connection here, but I think there's an emotional connection as well. You have attachment. They might still be in this energy of old patterns. I think they're going to have more balance. Like they're definitely going to be living in their truth more and expressing their emotion more, but they still might be in the throes of logic overtaking their passion or overtaking their emotions. There's a lot about desperation here and not being chained to that about the future. So they might be anxious about that. Like they might be thinking about looking at their family and thinking, oh my God, you know, my brother just got engaged or something like that. My sister just got engaged. This person that I know has a happy family. Like they might be foreboding about the future, and they might be struggling because they think that they have to have that same thing that other people do. They feel like they have to get married at this age, that age, they have to have kids at this point in time, and they're just anxious because they're like, I feel like my life isn't happening the way that I wanted it to. So they might be still living in fear, and you might be able to bring a new perspective to them, because you had that whole thing going on with timelines potentially. So you might be giving them insight with this thinking woman here about, hey, it's okay, like you're on your own timeline. Nobody can tell you what to do about your life or where you need to be at. That's dependent on you. And that might be really helpful for them in terms of relieving their anxiety. They're stuck in old patterns. Indecision. Yeah, they're looking at two roads in their life. Like they're thinking about the possible choices and trying to figure out what's the better decision. Which, Seven of Cups, they're very anxious about the fact that they have to choose something, and they don't necessarily know what they would like to choose. They feel like they have a lot of options open, but not a lot of information about where the future is going to head. So they're definitely thinking about the long term at this point in time when you meet them, and it's really starting to wear down on them. But they need to be the one to like take action, it looks like. And they need to be the one to be like, hey, it's not life happening for me, or no. It's not life happening to me, it's life happening for me. but they're definitely anxious when you guys first meet about the future and what that's going to look like. But they're definitely going to be attracted to you, and I think that this is going to progress into a more sexual relationship in the beginning, just due to how much is going on between the two of you guys when you meet. So that was a lot. We're going to look at how this relationship is going to progress. So what is the tiger going to be grateful for in this relationship? Ooh. Prince of Swords. Okay, what is the elk going to be grateful for this relationship? Okay. And what is the tiger going to learn through this relationship? Ooh. The hermit. Okay. What is the elk person going to learn in this relationship? Sorrow. Okay. And then what's something that they both enjoy doing together? Okay. The shared energy. I need to do that. What is the shared energy of this connection with the elk person? Woman holding a heart. That's so cute. Oh, and then the bottom of the deck we have blossoming abundance. All right. So in terms of how this relationship is going to progress and like the different aspects of the relationship, this tiger really admires you living within your truth. They really love that about you. They love your honesty. I think they love that you understand your feelings better than they ever could. And I think they're going to learn a lot about how to be more introspective with this hermit card especially. I think they like that you think things through. I think you might be just as logical as they are, to be honest. And that's what they really enjoy about you, is that you not only know how to communicate, but they like always being surprised by you. And they like how quickly you're able to adapt and you're able to act. And they like that you are this focused, unstoppable force of nature to be reckoned with. Like, they love your power, and they love the fact that you're able to take your power and that you're able to be honest about it and be authentic about it. And you seem to really make their heads spin a lot in the good way. They know that you are going to solve a conflict logically, and that you are going to be very well informed and intelligent and have done your research. I feel like this person really is going to enjoy your mind and the way that it operates and the way that it works. They are going to learn how to sit with themselves with the Hermit card by being in this relationship. They are going to learn how to be more introspective and how to search for answers and how to go within. They are going to learn how to be by themselves more. They're not going to be so desperate to be around other people to help them figure out their life and what's happening. And they are going to be focused, I think, on what they want rather than the little distractions of life. I think this is because they're going to be in that retreating state when you meet them, but they're going to really learn how to have a deeper level of understanding about themselves through this relationship, which is honestly beautiful. You, on the other hand, are going to really admire their strength and their resilience. I'm getting Leo vibes from this, so I don't know if your Virgo is on their side, so they're going to be learning how to be more organized, I feel like, and how to embody more Earth Virgo energy. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are Virgos as well, or have Virgo in your chart. but they might have Leo somewhere in their chart as well with the Strength card here, or you might have Leo in your chart. And it seems like there's like a mirror here where the earth side of you is really inspiring to them and makes them live in more earthly energy, whereas the fire side to them helps you learn more about your fiery side and how to get more in touch with that. But you are really going to admire how this tiger person doesn't try to control things, doesn't try to force their will upon things, how they've learned to kind of relax and let things go. And you are going to really like how respected they are, how courageous they are, how patient they are, and how gentle they are. And that's going to be very encouraging to you, because I feel like you're going to see that and kind of adapt to their energy, as I said, and you're going to be able to confront whatever problems that you guys have head on, even if there is anxiety or fear with the situation, which is beautiful. And I think you're going to love how they're able to communicate their goals and intentions clearly and respectfully. They don't need force to achieve what they're looking for in life, which is beautiful. You're going to learn from this connection how to handle heartbreak a lot better. You're going to learn how to work with your abandonment problems with this person, because I see how some of you might be anxiously attached to partners or give so much of yourself because you're scared of the partner leaving, but you're definitely not going to have this anxiety with this person. I feel like that's why you like how clearly they communicate with you, because you feel validated in this connection. And you're going to learn how to manage the emotional pain of relationships and learn how to be more comfortable and confident in yourself and not feel like these feelings of lostness or abandonment is constantly coming up. I think you're going to learn how to be patient with yourself, how to heal parts of yourself that you were not able to heal alone, and you're going to learn how to face things that might be uncomfortable but necessary for you to grow and become better. I think this person is going to help you release and cry more and let go of things that don't serve you and things that you've been clinging on to for so long. And I feel like that's beautiful energy. Like, this person gives me type B energy, you give me type A energy, and I think you're going to learn how to be more type B from this person. Like, since they're so go with the flow, they face challenges that they need to face with gentleness and resilience. You're learning how to adapt that for yourself and how to let go. Whereas I think you're more of like a fighting spirit, and you're more like fiery, actually, even though you're represented by earth. And they're gonna learn like, oh, I love that they fight for themselves, I love that they're capable of doing this. What is it about them that makes them able to do this? And what is it about them that allows them to balance that logic with their emotions at the same time? It's very beautiful energy. The thing that you guys really enjoy doing together is like facing challenges with the Strife card here. I think you guys are going to be very good at problem solving in your relationship and figuring things out together. It's giving the impression of we're not fighting each other, we're fighting this battle together. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy, I thought this was wands, sorry, this is actually swords. I think you guys are going to enjoy like winning together no matter the cost. And this relationship is going to feel worth it in spite of the challenges that you guys face along the way. Even if your feelings are hurt, even if you sabotage one or the other's growth or success, not intentionally, I think you both are going to be able to come back to each other and talk things through. And you're both going to figure out how to bring humility into the relationship and how to like keep each other in check and how to prevent the other from allowing their ego to like overcome their own ideas of where they want to be, which makes a lot of sense given your guys' connection. And the connecting energies, this gives like, you don't have to be part of the lesbian community, but this gives very strong lesbian energy here of a woman holding a heart. I think you both are always going to choose each other at the end of the day. And you both are going to have each other's hearts, basically. It's going to be a very peaceful love and receptive love. And I think if there are problems with one or both of you, if you are part of the lesbian community, for instance, also sorry to exclude bisexual women from this as well, if you are a bisexual woman. But if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community regardless, and you have issues with family not liking that, because that makes sense of not living within your truth, I think that this relationship is going to teach them that this is not impure. Like, you guys are meant for each other, you guys are soulmates, you don't have to fight. It's going to resolve that issue, is what this card is saying. And you both are going to help address issues with love, family, or emotion, and I think you both are going to heal the more feminine sides within the both of you and learn that it is like a beautiful thing rather than something to be ashamed of. The Blossoming Abundance card here, I think you both are going to help each other grow and succeed, and maybe procure more financial abundance, but also emotional abundance too. I'm going to pull some cards about what they would like to say to you, and then we will end it with some advice on how to get closer to this person, whether you feel like this is them or you feel like you would want to meet them soon. And then I shall be off. So what does the Tiger want to say to you? I knew exactly what I was doing and I lost myself for a little bit. Alright, Spirit, we'll do messages of love for advice. What does the elk person need to do to get closer to their person? Now I feel called to pull some cards about like how the relationship is going to progress. So actually I will do that. And then I'll just add. What does the deer person need to do to get closer to the tiger person? Trust. It is safe to trust this situation. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory in terms of trusting yourself to be authentic, trusting in your truth, and trusting that this person is safe for you if you feel like it is safe for you to be in this situation. That is all that I have for you, Pile 2. I hope that you have a wonderful day or night, whenever you're watching this. And thank you so much for attending my readings. If you feel called to support me, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you in another one. Bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading for today. First of all, if you have been through a breakup of some sort, or you are going through a lot of pain when it comes to your dating life, I'm really sorry for your loss. This pile is definitely healing and grieving something right now, and I definitely feel that energy with you right now. Like, it feels very heavy and it feels really sad, and I'm sorry about that for whatever you're going through. This pile seems to be mostly for air signs. Libra popped up with justice here, so if you are a Libra, I feel like this message is definitely for you. Scorpio energy is also here with the death card as well, so that is also a significant sign. You don't have to be those signs. Other air signs with the vulture are also Gemini and Aquarius. That's just confirmation for some of you. We'll get into you. So the vulture card here, right now you are in a state of cleansing and purging and trying to do the dirty work in order to purify your life and purify your existence. I see that this is a constant for you with the Death card, which is why I say this is strong Scorpio energy. It seems like this is a cycle for you where you tend to be, more often than others, having to go through a cycle of just purging things, ending things, trying to ensure that you have your best interest at heart. And you're very misunderstood, because the vulture, people think of it as this ominous creature and this sign of death, when really, like, the vultures are just doing what they're supposed to. They're cleansing, they're taking care of themselves, they're feeding themselves, they're doing really great work and ensuring that the cycle of life continues. So I think you might feel very misunderstood in a lot of your relationships and a lot of your previous relationships. Your current energy towards love is, right now, you are receiving a lot of intuitive messages, and I think you're trying to be helpful towards maybe friends, family members, in terms of their love lives. And the crown chakra, that's what Uriel, the 7th archangel, represents. That's about receiving inspiration, receiving knowledge and intuitive messages of your circumstances. So you might be receiving a lot of intuition about what's supposed to be happening for your love life or what's coming for your love life. But there's a sense with the Magician and the Mirror that you're not really willing to accept that right now. You don't have confidence in yourself to be able to bring that to life. And because you don't have the confidence in yourself to believe that you're going to find your person, I feel you are missing out on an opportunity. And I don't think it's your fault. I'm not here to judge you at all for that. I'm just trying to relay the message of the cards here. But right now you seem really disappointed in love. And you seem like you've had this disappointment for quite some time here. It could be that previously you've ended a connection that was really important to you, and now you're still carrying those feelings of disappointment and sadness, but you're really mulling over the past and things that have previously happened to you, and it's not really allowing you to see fully what is coming in for you. And I feel like you can sense it, but there's this resistance. You've either met your soulmate already and you're just not in the mindset of being able to be with them, or you feel your soulmate coming in but you don't feel ready for them, so you're kind of denying that right now with this 5 of Cups here, because you're not seeing that this could be a beautiful thing for you. And that's totally understandable. If you don't have the capacity for love, you don't have to take it. But it seems like you're more focused on friends and family right now. That's the gist of a lot of what these readings have been saying, is that your friends and your family have been there for you and you're trying to be more helpful to them. So maybe you just don't feel like you have the time or energy to take on a relationship right now. But I don't think that your idea of a relationship currently is actually what's going to be happening, to be completely real with you. I think that it's going to be a lot better than you're expecting it to be right now. We're going to look at the wishing well card again, because I thought of this as like wishing someone well, like saying goodbye to them, but I forgot that there's actually a wishing well where you're putting your wishes into them and you're hoping that it's going to be something that comes to you. I think you're detached right now. I don't think there's a need to be. I think you're very detached from this idea of finding your person and of them to appear. I think you've gone through so much heartache trying to find your person and trying to find the one, that it's just easier for you to not feel like you have to have your person come through. But there's something unseen at play, and you are not able to see how or why this is happening. I feel like you can just kind of sense it, and I think you're trying to step aside and allow room for this thing to happen for you, but you're not necessarily like co-creating or taking action towards having this idea of yours manifests, especially with the Magician in reverse here. The Magician in traditional tarot represents having the confidence to be able to create something and feeling prepared, like you have all the resources available for you to be able to allow that dream to come in. And for you right now, I don't think you have an attachment to that one way or another, because I think you might have gotten out of something serious, or you might have had a relationship previously that really disappointed you, and that might have tainted your idea of who a soulmate was or what that soulmate was. And I think you're still healing from that to this day, regardless of how deep that connection was, whether that connection developed into something more serious, like regardless of the circumstances of the connection that really hurt you. That, or you've been single for so long that maybe you just don't feel like it's going to happen for you, and you're kind of disappointed by that because you really wanted romance. I think you're a romantic at heart. It's just hasn't worked out for you thus far. And there's a level of pain in past connections that I'll get into here that's really motivating this sadness and disappointment within you. You have the Death card, as I said, and that's about purging and cleansing and ending things that aren't suitable for you, and saying goodbye to toxic situations, toxic people, toxic circumstances, and becoming transformed through that decision to let something die, or to kill something, basically. I think you've put an end to most of the relationships that you've had, because you've realized that those relationships weren't fair to you. You have the 10 of Wands here. Take protecting treasure away. And the 10 of Wands can talk about overburdening yourself. You might have been really busy but still made time for dating, still made it a priority for you. Or it could be that you just overtook a lot of work from your partner, and there was just a lot that you had to take care of when it came to your dating life, on top of everything else that you have going on for you. And you've had to end things based on a level of fairness from what I see here. This might have been with a Libra, you might be a Libra yourself, or you might have had a relationship with a Scorpio, but for some reason you've had to weigh pros and cons a lot of staying with this person. And I feel like what prompted these thought processes for you was the fact that you took on a lot of work in the relationship, whereas the other person didn't. So you were giving a lot of yourself, or you were receiving a lot for them, and it just wasn't fair anymore. It didn't serve you anymore. And that's why you decided to end things, because it was starting to really burden you, and it was starting to pile up upon you, and you just could not handle what was happening anymore. And rest assured, this happened for unseen reasons. The universe was trying to protect you at the end of the day, and was trying to make sure that you are valued, and that you are cared for, and that you are treated the way that you deserve to be treated. I hope you know that. This wasn't your fault. You made the right call, and you are protecting yourself by making those decisions and by ending things that don't necessarily serve you. So if this is your pile, I would encourage you to continue listening. This is a very fast recap compared to everything else, but it was really straightforward, and I welcome you here. If not, feel free to choose another pile, or to listen to another video, another reader, whatever suits your needs. But we will get into now information about your soulmate. All right, we're gonna set you aside here. We're gonna keep your amethyst, if you didn't know. That probably didn't even focus, but you know. All right, can we get an idea of pile 3's person? Please, who is pile 3's soulmate? What can you tell me about them? They're gonna take a while to come in, just from what I get. Okay, they are the sea serpent upright and the dragonfly in reverse. So they might be another air sign, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, or you might not get specific information about them because the sea serpent is not marked in this deck as a specific zodiac sign, I should say. Element. There we go. Sorry, I feel like there's just this like heaviness that you're carrying right now. And you're working through purging it, but I can feel how exhausting it is to carry it like this. I was not feeling tired before I started this reading. Okay. What is the history with this dragonfly person? What is the history of this dragonfly person in their love life? Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles, Four of Swords, Two of Swords, and Death again. So, right off the bat, they might also be a water air type sign because we have Scorpio here. Okay, and what is their current energy? What is their current energy towards love here? Attachment in yin and yang in reverse. Okay. A little bit about them. They kind of seem to be not in the best place in life right now when it comes to their personal identity. I feel like whereas you accept yourself as the vulture and your situation as the vulture, the dragonfly in reverse, they're very busy-minded right now. Their mind is always kind of like moving and shifting and shimmering and changing, and I think right now they're in a state of dreamlike confusion and in some sort of daydreaming haze, and they, I feel like, just can't really concentrate fully on the situation or what's happening before them. Since they have this like sea serpent card, I think that they are going through like a serious transformation as well. Yep, here we go. They're healing emotional wounds and expressing their desires with the sea serpent. They are trying to become healthier when it comes to where they direct their energy and how they direct their energy. And they're trying to work on coming from a place of expressing themselves creatively or sexually without fear or shame. They know what they desire, like deep down, I think. And they want like a meaningful connection and an enduring connection with someone specifically. But they are going through problems with judging themselves and feeling ashamed of what they want. Maybe like they grew up in a culture that discourages sex before marriage, but that's what they want for themselves. Maybe they like more freaky stuff than the average person type of deal. There's a lot of confusion around, I think, how they would like to express themselves and whether or not it's okay for them to do that. And they're healing a lot of wounds around their own perception of what is right versus what is wrong and what they should feel ashamed for. They, I think, are in the middle of that transformation, because after they have that transformation, after it's activated, they won't have that confusion. They'll have a level of creativity and freedom in how they express themselves, but they're learning their true nature. And I think that they are figuring out themselves right now, and they're healing right now in the same way that you might be as well. And I think you guys might relate to a lot of your emotional journeys, especially with how much water is here, and your own like mental journeys as well, when you guys meet and when you guys progress in terms of your relationship. But we shall see that a little bit later. Their history with love is represented by the Eight of Pentacles, They've been in a lot of similar situations as you have, from what I can see here. I think they've poured a lot of themselves into their work, however, and have been very committed to that specific goal and putting out like high quality work. That, or they have invested a lot into building healthy, loving, and lasting relationships. They know what they want, as the Sea Serpent confirms, and they've seen results happen from it. Their determination has paid off with the amount of effort and dedication that they've put into these relationships. That, or they have always kind of been ready to commit, but it seems like, similarly to you, they've had to purge and cleanse and end toxic relationships, toxic cycles for them, either with other people or the relationships themselves. It seems like they have had to also weigh the pros and cons, but in a less intense way that you have, with the Two of Swords here, having to make decisions that might not bode well with certain parties. They have had situations as well where people might not really be attracted to the dragonfly, and not in the sense of like they're unattractive, but they have this feeling of wondering why people don't make a move towards them, and wondering why they've been single for a while, or why nobody seems to, they feel stuck a lot in relationships, I think, and they're not really sure how to articulate like how they're feeling fully to these people, and they need additional time, I think, to process when things happen, or to process how they feel towards certain things. They tend to wait between periods of their relationships. If they've gotten out of a relationship, they don't immediately get back into one, and they might have large gaps in between seeing people, and that might contribute to like their feelings of, why doesn't anyone really want me? Like, why isn't anyone really interested in me? They feel like it's them, but I don't think it's them. I just think that they are a very guarded person, and people might be very intimidated by that. And people might sense that sometimes they're just not willing to jump into something without knowing who the dragonfly is, or what the dragonfly is like in relationships. They're just trying to, I think, get a sense of what's going on with other people. I think that they're really good at like hiding themselves and really like investing themselves in relationships to disconnect, and to hope that the other person doesn't come back and say, hey, why did you think this, or why did you feel this way? It's almost like they don't know how they're feeling, and so they try to bide time by like investing so much into the other person and committing so much to the other person. They don't lose themselves in this. Like, I feel like they have a pretty strong sense of identity, but they're trying to see things, I think, more realistically, and they try to make sense of relationships as it happens. I don't get the sense they're a very emotional person, especially because we have all these swords and pentacles cards here. I think they're very level-headed and logical when it comes to the way that they navigate life and the way that they navigate relationships, and for certain people, that's not necessarily their cup of tea. I feel like the Four of Swords just reiterates what I said. Like, they take long breaks of rest in between. They take the time to heal. This is not someone that's going to come into the relationship with really bad baggage. Like, they are a pretty healthy person, and they maintain that healthiness throughout, which is very beautiful energy. Like, they are very well balanced, and I have to commend you and this person, because this feels like a very mature and healthy relationship between the two of you that has the potential to blossom. Their energy towards love is represented by attachment and by yin and yang in reverse. They're chained to old patterns, and they are fearful of the past as well as desperate about the future. They wear a mask right now of being calm and content, but they're struggling. They feel very stuck, and this stuck energy, I think, has continued from the past. They might be stuck in an old relationship, an old emotional pattern, an addiction of some kind, but they're afraid of what the future is going to look like right now. They are not taking action towards love at the moment because they just overthink, and so they become very paralyzed and chained instead of being excited about the future, and instead of realizing like you can move forward, you can be open and free and healthy and live authentically. You just need to let go of what other people think about you and let go of that shame and have the courage to take action, and know that just because you make a mistake or have the potential to make a mistake doesn't mean that it's going to be bad for you. Sometimes you have to do that in order to break from the cycle, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you are afraid of the outcome. So that might be why, if you haven't met them yet, why they haven't come in, because they have to work through that fear. I think they're trying to become more logical when it comes to love. I think sometimes maybe their emotions have gotten them in trouble before, and that's why they're very afraid of committing emotionally to someone. Or they might be the opposite, where it's like they fall head over heels for someone. It's a very intense relationship that they're in, or they're very committed to, but then they don't consider like the emotional side of things of, do I actually feel satisfied with this person? Like, is this actually what I want for myself? They're taking a new beginning, and they're taking a new step towards life and a new approach. And I think everything comes back to this sea serpent energy of not being ashamed of themselves, not being ashamed of their authenticity, and allowing themselves to take action and live the life that they would like to live. I feel like that was very vague, but it is a general reading. That is kind of the process that they're going through right now with their energy. So now we will look more into what is happening. There's a lot of mystery around this pile. Like, it's going by very quickly. You'll be on the left and they will be on the right. So, Spirit, we're on the exciting part. How are you guys going to be meeting? We'll ask how first. How are you guys going to be meeting? I'm going to be meeting very slowly. Things are jumping out, but they're not quite landing. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay. And then where are you guys going to be meeting? Can I get an idea of this? Okay, those are the cards that I just... No, that could have significance though. So we're gonna leave that there. Alright, what's gonna be going on for the dragonfly when you guys meet? I think that came out reversed. Yes. Okay, the Six of Cups in reverse. What's going to be coming? What's going to be happening for the Vulture when you guys are meeting? So that's you, the viewer. What's going to be happening for you when you guys are meeting? The Hierophant and the Star. Okay. That gives me kind of an idea of where as well. You're both very calm people. Like, I feel very calm energy from this. Alright, can we get some cards, love cards for the Sea Serpent here? to get more of an idea of your guys' first meeting and what's going to be happening. Pay attention to the red flags. Wedding. Very soon. Okay. What's going to be happening? And the vulture. Playfulness. Okay. Let me ask about the energy, because maybe that will give you more of an impression of what's going on with this sea serpent person. Do they just in a relationship that's not fulfilling to them? I don't know, there's something shady going on with them. Okay, what's the energy of the sea serpent when you guys meet? I'm going to jump out. Angel of Balance. What's your energy when you guys meet? Woman holding a coin. Okay. And then can we get some clarity about what you guys will be thinking when you see each other? Okay. What is the sea serpent going to be thinking when they meet the vulture? I love you unconditionally. That's a good sign. What does the vulture think when they first meet the sea serpent? I love you. So it's very mutual between the two of you. I don't know what this wedding is. I don't know if they're in a wedding. Okay, what is the sea serpent, their role in this wedding? Oh my god, these cards are, stack is huge. Okay, this one wanted to tumble out. Okay. I don't think there are, but the Fool here, that reminds me of like a court jester. So I don't think that they are, I don't think this is their wedding. I think that this is probably referring to like someone else's. They might be, okay. Let me just get into it because you're not going to see what I'm seeing here. Obviously, with the way that you two think about each other when you first meet, it's pretty much like love at first sight or love at first conversation. Like you both feel the same way about each other. There's not much like lust here. It's very romantic between the two of you. You both are going to be meeting at the worst circumstances for the both of you possible. And I'm sorry to laugh at that, but I don't think either of you are going to feel ready to be with the other person. I think you're still going to be in this stage of like kind of growing and developing. That's why I kind of wanted to clarify the wedding thing, because I was like, is the sea serpent getting married and then you're meeting them at the wedding, and then that causes things to kind of spiral for the sea serpent? I mean, I guess that could be true still, but it doesn't look like they are. It's unlikely, but it's still a possibility. Okay, so where you're meeting, we'll get there first. It looks like where you're meeting might be at a like retreat or a resort or on a vacation of some kind. you're going to be resting and relaxing when you're meeting them. It's not going to be anything like crazy or wild. You're going to just be taking time to heal, which makes me think it might be a vacation, or it might be like a resort. If you've struggled with addiction, maybe you'll meet in like rehab of some kind, but it's maybe therapy, but it's some way of like connecting with someone to heal. Basically, it's something where you're taking time out for yourself to really rest. This healing place, wherever you guys decide to meet, is a bit expensive with the Eight of Pentacles here. It looks like it's something that takes a lot of time and dedication for, which makes sense if it is a vacation, if it is a retreat, if it is a therapy session. And it's something where you kind of have to be selected for it with the Two of Swords from what I'm seeing here. It's something that requires a decision where you've kind of like weighed the pros and cons of what you should or shouldn't do, which makes sense given the fact that it's a little bit expensive. So I feel like you guys are going to be meeting while you're in a break of like rest. Maybe you're taking PTO from work, maybe you're traveling. You might even meet at the wedding specifically, or you might be at the same location because maybe the sea serpent is there for the wedding and you're just kind of there on vacation doing something. But it seems like you're both just kind of in a state of rest. Like you're not going to meet at work, you're not going to be meeting at a party of any kind. It's mostly going to be something that is going to calm both of you down and heal both of what's happening between the two of you. What's going on with you is you are healing with the star here. Like you're feeling pretty hopeful about life at this point in time. Maybe at a hospital. Sorry. For some of you that might be going through a lot. Maybe you guys do meet at like a hospital of some kind. Maybe you're there for like charity work too. Or on like, yeah, charity work would make sense. Like helping other people of some kind, or volunteering for something too. But you're feeling very hopeful about life. You're feeling pretty good about your circumstances. You're healing from a lot of different things, and overall it's just very positive energy. You're feeling pretty inspired. You're feeling pretty guided to do what it is that you've been sent to do, and you feel like there is a bright future ahead for you during this time. You might be asking for signs from the universe, asking for directions, but you don't feel like it's the end of the road for you. The Hierophant tells me too, you might meet at like a church for a wedding of some kind. I think you're going to be more devoted to whatever you practice. If it's spiritual work, you're going to be more devoted to that. If it's like, you know, your faith of some kind, you're going to be more devoted to that. But I feel like that's kind of what's happening in your life, is you're learning more about traditional wisdom, and you're really honoring that by embedding it within your routine. You're going to be feeling pretty playful when you meet this person. You're going to have really good banter with this person. You're going to feel like that spark again that you've kind of lost, because I don't feel like you're naturally a very playful person, but for some reason this person just kind of like brings it out of you, and you're going to be very jokey and flirty with them. And you have a woman holding a coin. I think you might just be pretty wealthy at this point in time, which makes sense given the fact that where you guys are going to be meeting might be a bit expensive or might require a lot of like financial dedication. You're kind of seeking financial advice, and I don't know if you're going to ask the dragonfly about the financial advice, but you're looking for assistance connected to wealth or business. That's kind of your energy as you're coming into this. I don't think expecting to meet someone, but that's kind of how you do meet them, is you're looking for financial security in some way, or you're asking, how do I get better with my finances? It's not that you're necessarily poor at this point in time or that you don't have a lot of money, but I think you might be trying to figure out how to invest things more intelligently, or different ways that you might be able to invest things, or different ways you might be able to make money at this point in time. So that's kind of your energy. is you meet them, you're feeling pretty playful, you're pretty devoted and hopeful about life, and you have this renewed sense of energy around you. The sea serpent is not having a good time on their end of things. They have the Six of Cups in reverse. I wonder if this is their job of some kind, where they might be working with people with their finances in some way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't take my word for it completely, to be honest. So they are still stuck in that energy that I was talking about earlier, and they are trying to outrun the bad memories. I think that's why they're at this like little retreat. They have all these like thoughts and nightmares that kind of seem to be resurfacing, and even though it's been a long time since they've had their, you know, good childhood or their glory days or those golden years, golden moments, they feel pretty worn out because they are just having like this really bad struggle of letting go of the good times, basically. I wonder if they were married before and that's why this wedding is popping up, and that might be why they're represented by the Fool in reverse, of not wanting to start a new beginning, is what I'm hearing, because that's the traditional meaning of the Fool for tarot. Not feeling confident that things are going to work out completely, but they're kind of using their humor to deny their truth and as a way of wounding other people. So I kind of wonder if they're jealous of a friend that's gotten married and they're using humor as a way to cope with that, but it's not coming off in the best way. That's the sense that I get. There's like a little bit of jealousy here. They don't really know what they want at this point in time, and they feel kind of pressured to know what they want, but somehow a wedding's involved. I'm not exactly sure the full extent of it, and I think that wedding has kind of like made them even more anxious about the future because, as I said, they're stuck in this energy of feeling like things aren't going to work out for them, when really it's like it is. You just need to let go of the past and move forward and let go of whatever it is that they're hanging on to. I kind of wonder if like they thought they were going to get married to a partner, then they got their heart broken and that person moved forward, and now they don't really know how to fully move on from that, even though that relationship wasn't the best for them. Especially with this pay attention to the red flags. This is either referring to a relationship that they're stuck in, or that they were stuck in that they're still clinging on to, or they might just be more vigilant when it comes to their love life when you guys meet, and they're trying to look out for red flags that aren't necessarily there. Oh, they say I love you unconditionally too to you. So I don't think that they might be like really concerned about their love for you and might be like, this is a little weird, this is kind of unlike me, is what I'm hearing. But they are represented by the Angel of Balance when it comes to their energy. I wonder if one of you is 48 and the other is 42 at this point in time. But those are significant numbers. Yeah, they're definitely concerned about the past. They are holding on to this idea that things were out of sync then, so they might be out of sync now, and they're trying to come to an equilibrium about balancing their goals and their physical and emotional energy at the same time. They might be a little bit off balance or off center or losing focus in some way when you meet them, and they might be trying to figure out what their intentions or their purpose is by going to this retreat. They need to kind of realize that like their intuition is going to lead them in the right direction, and peace is upon the horizon for them. Like they're pretty close to it. That is kind of the circumstances of your guys' meeting. I'm going to look into now how your relationship is going to progress, and then we can get into some advice as well. And then we shall be on our way. This did not feel like an hour. That is one thing that the dragonfly is going to be in awe of when it comes to the vulture. Or what is something that they really like about the vulture, basically. Okay, that's very interesting. What is something that you will like about the dragonfly? Okay. What is something that the dragonfly is going to learn about the vulture through this relationship? Okay. What is something the vulture is going to learn from the dragonfly in this relationship? Okay. What is something that you guys are going to enjoy doing together? Okay. And then what is the overall energy going to be with this connection? The garden and the gate and strategy. Interesting. Okay. So the thing that you are really going to like about the dragonfly is they are honest, and you like that they are going to tell you the truth no matter what, even if it's hurtful, even if you don't want to hear it. You really like the dragonfly's intellectual and logical energy. You like how blunt the dragonfly is, and you know that regardless of what the dragonfly says to you, they're telling you the truth, basically. And you are going to learn how to be mindful of people around you, and I think you're gonna figure out how to distinguish between who's manipulating you and who's saying all the right things to get what they want and who's not. And I think you're gonna learn how to escape reality more and how to just kind of like deal with the harshness of reality through other facets of life. I don't know, I just feel like they're kind of solace for you in a very strange way. They help you deal and cope with a lot of your heartbreak in life. And it's kind of the same way for this person as well, because they received the Queen of Cups in reverse. For them, I think what they really admire about you is very similar to what you're going to learn from them. They kind of like that you're a bit clingy, to be honest with you. They like that you are a bit needy with them, and not in like a bad way of like, oh, you depend on me, but I think that this person really likes, you know, you're texting all the time and that you have this connection where you are emotionally dependent on them. And it sounds so bad for me to say because it's not for me, but they like, I feel like that you can be vulnerable with them emotionally. They like, I think, the emotional connection that you guys have together. That like you're able to talk about things, you're able to discuss the darkness of the world, you're able to discuss like the parts of society that might be shameful to other people but are normal to you guys, I think is what I'm trying to say here. They like your vulnerability. They like the way that you make your decisions based on your emotions. They find that really beautiful about you. And they like your inner child as well with the Six of Cups here. I think you feel like home to this person with the Six of Cups. I think you kind of remind them of the way that they used to be, and they find that really comforting to be around you in that way. And they really like when you light up and you connect with old versions of yourself, or you connect with your past. I think that that brings them comfort, because that means that they're able to do that for themselves as well. They're able to see things from a better perspective and from a brighter perspective, because theirs was in reverse when they received this card. So they thought of their childhood as something that they had to mourn, basically, and that they had to be upset over, and that they had to like cling on to. But I think that you being yourself and you being in tune with your emotions and your inner child has kind of helped them do the same thing and see that, hey, I don't have to mourn this, like I can just get back in touch with myself in that way. So it's very sweet, the emotions that you guys have together. It's a little unconventional, but I'm not here to judge that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that personally. And I think from you, they're gonna learn how to really like slow down and to not run at life at 1,000 miles per hour. Not that they did that, because as I said, they had a lot of periods where they were single for a long period of time, but I think that they are going to not feel this immediacy in life to like do something or to take action. They're gonna learn how to cope with delays happening, how to cope with cancellations and things like that, how to cope with a change in their schedule, how to cope with a change in their plans. I think they're gonna let things go a lot easier, and they're gonna realize that just because it's a no does not mean that they have to be upset about it, if that makes sense. Because I feel like they're the type of person where they, not that they hate being told no, but I think they might be the type of person where a delay happens and they think it's never gonna be. Like they're kind of an all or nothing person of, oh my God, if this happens, that means that it's over. And I think you're gonna be really helpful in teaching them that like, no, that doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that it's a delay. Like it's gonna come soon, not now, but you'll see it eventually. And I think that's really helpful for them, because I think that that might contribute to a lot of their depression or anxiety, is they just take that very personally when they shouldn't, you know, when it doesn't mean that. I think you guys are going to really enjoy discussing heartbreak with each other. And as I said, this is a very emotional connection. When you are disappointed or you are heartbroken by something, you both are just going to really enjoy being in each other's company and find comfort just during the sad times and during the times where you're just not feeling the greatest. And you're both going to be very healing for each other because of that. You also have the Queen of Swords in reverse, so I think that even if you both say really harsh things to each other, even if you guys end up inevitably having conflict, the Queen of Swords is someone that has been through so much but carries a lot of wisdom. And even though she doesn't necessarily know how to handle that fully, I think there's a lot of beauty in this relationship where you both respect and appreciate each other's wisdom and perspective and experiences. And even if sometimes one of you might say something that rubs the other person the wrong way, there's still a level of maturity out of that, and you still learn what the truth is through this connection. This is a very honest and authentic bond between the two of you here. And the energy is represented by the garden and the gate, and then strategy. You both are going to be able to set up strategies to achieve your goals. You both are going to help each other in figuring out what direction you guys want to go in. And you guys are going to figure out how to navigate any sort of delays or obstacles that kind of pop up within your relationship. You're going to figure out how to structure your short-term goals to make long-term goals a reality, and you're going to be setting things in order when it comes to your relationship as well as the future that you both want together. You guys are going to figure out what you want in the very beginning, and then from there you're going to figure out how to get there, and there's not going to be a lot of disagreements in terms of your wants and your needs and things like that. I think the biggest challenges are mostly with like emotions and not allowing the other to be manipulative or to say things that they don't mean, because I feel like with a connection like this, sometimes you say things you don't mean and you break the other person's heart, and that might be a challenge in the relationship that I'm foreseeing with the Cups cards in reverse. And keeping each other honest, definitely, I think is one thing. But I think you're both going to be pretty honest with each other, if not too honest with each other. This garden is going to blossom with a lot of colorful flowers, and I think you're both going to only be able to access that garden when you access it together, because this card talks about the chain being over her neck, and for her to open it, she has it there. I think sometimes you guys just might find too much solace within each other. I think that's what this card is saying. And sometimes that might be really tempting to just stay home and to wallow in each other's sadness and stuff like that, or to wallow into each other's security and money and things like that. But sometimes it's like you both might be very introverted, or you both might not take a lot of risks when it comes to your relationship. So I think that even though you both appreciate that about the other person, sometimes it's good to know that, hey, maybe we should take that trip together. Maybe we should roam this together. Maybe we should have this experience together. This also could talk about career as well, of living within your truth of your career, and maybe talking about things if you feel like karmically inclined to do something, or you feel like this is your purpose, instead of just not talking about it and not discussing it, to continue to have that line of communication open, so that, you know, maybe you guys were settled in one place, but then maybe someone got a job opportunity in another, and now you have to move and you feel unstable or insecure. This might be more for the dragonfly person too, because they don't seem to like change happening all that often. But I think you both are going to figure out how to stay open to things and learn how to be open-minded and shift your perspective. We have this garden here, but we still can explore other areas. We don't have to stay in this energy type of deal. So I'll get some advice on how to get closer to your soulmate, and then I shall leave it here for you, pile 3. Sorry, I've been very low energy this time. I think I'm just channeling you, and that's always a good thing though, to be able to channel your viewers. So we'll get some advice. Spirit, what advice can you give pile 3 to get closer to their soulmate? That's a lot of advice. Oh, it's only 2. Decision. It's time to decide about this relationship. Self-care. Clear your energy field and focus on yourself before acting. Okay. That's pretty self-explanatory. So I think it's whether or not you actually want this, and whether or not you want to fully commit to your soulmate, whether that's now or whether that's in the future. And I think self-care is really important. Clearing your energy, learning how to care for yourself, and not making any rash decisions based on unhealed parts of you. You know, if you have to make a decision about something, just taking your time, thinking about whether or not it's in alignment with you, and then if something feels right, to go for it. But if it doesn't, don't go for it, you know? And I also want to say too, if you are not interested in a relationship like this, if you've been listening to this and you're like, I don't think that that's healthy for me, I don't think that I'm interested in that, that is also a choice. You have multiple soulmates out there if you want. But I think that taking action is probably the biggest part of this relationship, particularly in your own like self-care, self-help journey. And time will tell from there how things will progress and when you will meet them. But I hope that that was helpful, pile 3. I hope that that gave you some direction and some clarity about this connection. And if you liked it, please share, like, subscribe, and a comment. But in the meantime, I hope to see you again. Bye.